What's going on, everybody? And we are logging on to episode 115 of the podcast. We're already at 115 episodes.
Wow.
Go quicker by the day. By the time this episode releases, we'll be back to our weekly episodes.
Yeah.
So we're rocking and rolling here. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Luke Gans. Thank you for being here, my man.
Always a pleasure.
And we are doing a Spotlight episode, once again, Spotlight interview, and this week's guest is Hayden Shapiro from the Grease Wagon. Thank you for being here, my man.
Thank you for having me, boys. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you making the trip over here and everything like that to do this
Absolutely.
interview and everything. It's definitely been a while since I would say
Yeah.
both of you have seen you too.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
You know,
it has been a while. It's been way too long, I would say.
Yeah.
way too long for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like the good thing about, like, for the most part with freehold people is kind of like, there's, I feel like a handful of us that all are probably like, I'm okay with not seeing that person for a little bit. But like, I'd say for the most part, generally, it's like we haven't seen each other in a while. Like, our 10-year anniversary is what? Next is November.
Yeah.
So
This year?
This year, yeah.
This year,
Because
yeah,
last
it
year
is.
was 2012's graduating class.
That's
so
right.
It's like, it's cool to see because like it is always good to catch up with a bunch of people and like
Absolutely.
freehold travels well.
It does.
got
Freehold does
people
travel
all
well.
over the fucking world.
I think that's also a beautiful thing about this podcast too,
Yeah.
having people come in that we haven't seen in a while from Freehold and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
come in and
Definitely.
talk. Speaking of the reunion too, though, I was at Moore's Tavern one night and they were having the 2012
The 12 reunion,
there.
yeah. Were you there?
Yeah, I stopped by and saw a couple of people that I knew. And
I
then
got
that was
invited,
it.
so I got invited to that one, and I don't. So when we were in high school, like I guess like sophomore, junior year, I was hanging out with junior seniors more frequently than I was our class. Not that I didn't hang out with everyone in this class, but
Right.
I was kind of splitting my time. So I got invited to the 2012 graduating.
Did
Like
you
I was in their
really?
Facebook group and I got the invite, and I actually paid to go. I was like, oh god, and like Kayla ended up getting sick, so like I couldn't even make it. But I was just cracking up because like I was talking to everyone. I was like talking to Spaguza and all those guys, and I'm like, yo, like, are we going? I was like, who's going in? Because that's another thing. Like a lot of the kids that I hung out with in 2012 are just all over, like California, Florida, DC, spread out like real thin. So
It was a
like
good
there was only
turnout,
a couple.
though.
Yeah, there was
It
a
was
good.
a good
They
amount
were
of
originally
people
going to do in Borough. What's next to Metro all the way down? Is it Freehold Hotel?
The American Hotel?
Oh, the
American
American
Hotel.
Hotel,
I think they were originally doing that, but like the cover for it for an hour of like not open bar but open bar, it was like more than I think people wanted, and they were just like, because like even me, I was like, I don't drink, so like I was like, can I just pay like to come and like not pay for drinks because like
Why?
I'm not gonna
They
use
were
an open
paying
bar
for open bar.
Yeah,
That was
open
it,
bar.
right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like it was whatever the cover was for the head was that you're paying that for everything, but.
Will we all be going to the reunion this year? If there is one, I haven't even heard really
Yeah, I
anything
haven't
of
heard
it.
anything either.
I don't know who technically
Who's in
runs
charge of
ours. Yeah.
organizing the-
I asked someone there, and they were like, it was the student government of that year.
So
So it's really up to them, I guess.
KB was our president.
That's right. I guess he would have to be in
So we
charge
gotta get
of
on
it.
KB.
That's all I remember.
Yeah,
so
same here.
If you
I
see
don't
this,
remember.
Keith, you're on the clock. But
Yeah, for sure.
Time's ticking, buddy. But yeah, but ultimately, I agree. Like, I think the good thing is too with spotlights too, you're able to get a lot of freehold people to like
without
come
a
back
doubt.
or extensions of freehold people. Like they might not be an immediate freehold person, but it's a friend of a friend or whatever it might be. So it's good to always to see that Monmouth County and freehold travels.
Monmouth County.
travels well.
That's a better way of putting
Monmouth
it, for
County's
sure.
a good way to do it. But
We usually do the poll of the pod first before we start the episode, but I'm thinking we hold off on the poll of the pod. Maybe do it later or more towards the end.
I'm fine with
this
that.
time around.
Whatever
All right,
works.
cool. So if you guys didn't know, our friend Hayden here has a food truck known as the Grease Wagon. So we're going to be interviewing him today, all about it basically. And the first thing I wanted to ask you was, when did you know that like cooking was like your thing? Or like, would you say that you figured out that you were great at cooking after a certain amount of time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I really didn't have an affinity for cooking until I really got into college, and I was kind of on my own.
Yeah.
And I had to cook for myself, moving out of a dorm from my freshman year into going into an apartment my sophomore year. I was like, all right, I have on-campus dining, but I only have a limited amount of money that I have to spend. I'm sure it's the same with most colleges, per week or per month, whatever it is. So you kind of have to allocate that out to see, okay, you know, I can get lunch today, dinner tomorrow, breakfast here, whatever it is.
Without a doubt.
So I was, you know, parents are like, you got to go to the grocery store. You got to start cooking. And
got to figure it out.
I could whip up some eggs, make some pancakes, stuff like that. But it was nothing too crazy. So then I eventually switched my major. I was marketing going into college. I didn't really like it. Didn't really like the business school. The lectures, they only offered the 90-minute lecture classes when you're in a lecture hall with 300 people. So it's like not very personable. You don't really get to know your professor. I then sat down one day and I was like, well, what do I like to do? And I was 18, 19 at the time. I really didn't know. But I was working in restaurants previously. So I was like, I really like working in restaurants. I like the fast pace of it. I like talking to people. I like helping people with decisions because I was a waiter, bartender, like, hey, try this drink, try this dish, whatever it was. But I was never really into the cooking part until later, working in the industry for 3 years, going into college and then being on my own. And then I started, if I want to cook for myself, I want to learn how to do it well. Like, I don't want to eat the same stuff every day. I don't want to burn my food, Yeah. So I just started doing a little research and, make like a chicken parm. All right, learn how to bread chicken, do all this stuff on my own. And then after my junior year of college, I needed an internship, so I went back to work for the restaurants. They told me you can be, work as like an assistant manager. You'll follow the manager around. But I was really still just waiting tables and stuff like that. And on slow days, I would get so bored. I would do all my setup work, all my cleaning, everything, and just be bored. So I just turn around to the kitchen guys. I'm like, hey, you guys want to teach me how to cook? And they all like shook their heads no, like no.
No.
And I'm like, please, like I'm so bored. They're like, you're gonna get a table eventually. I'm like, when I get a table, I'll go out.
Yeah.
And then they're all Spanish guys back there, and they're like, no white people in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was like, that's about to change today. So I went into the back. Took my apron off. I had my uniform on, and I just put a chef coat on, and I walk onto the line, and I start banging spatulas like I know what I'm doing. And they're all yelling at me. They're like, get out, get out, get out. So I was like, no. I was like, teach me how to do something. So they're like, all right, go in the back. Like, this guy's prepping the calamari. So I'm like, okay, I'll go learn prep calamari. So we're cleaning it. We're cutting the squid up. We're separating like the circular parts into one spot, and then like the actual like octopus tail parts into the other part. So it's basic stuff, just washing, cutting, making smaller portions. And then I eventually get a table, go out. But I was like, tomorrow I want to prep something else. And they're like telling me no still. So I kept going in, kept being persistent, and over time they kept teaching me more, cutting out how to prep salmon, how to prep tuna, how to prep steak, how to cut filet mignon out of like a full like piece of meat, how to carve it up, trim the fat, do all this stuff. So I was like, this is kind of not mindless work, but it's easy for me. It came easy for me. So I really enjoyed that, and it was not therapeutic, but it kind of made me not realize what I was doing. Like, time was going by. It's just something that I really enjoyed doing. So I just kept up with it. And then actually during COVID, I did a lot of research and was just watching cooking videos, and subscribed to Masterclass and was just learning from all those chefs and stuff like that. So just to try and elevate my skills a little bit, because I had taken a couple culinary classes in college as well. They teach you how to cook, but it's a lot of basic stuff, because I wanted to kind of step up my game. So during COVID, really nothing to do. I was out of a job, so I was just cooking for my family. And they're like, wow, stuff's good. I'm like, let me try this. They're like, well, we can't get this from the store because it's sold out, because stuff was hard to come by. So I'm like, I want to try this. They're like, oh, well, we'll have to wait. So, I was cooking like, I'll do like a Taco Tuesday. So I do like shrimp tacos, and I make like my own guacamole, my own salsas, all this different stuff, toppings and stuff to go with the tacos, just on my own. So I kind of fell in love with that, and then I was like, let me, take this on a larger scale. And that's how I basically got to, starting the truck and where I am today.
That's crazy. And that's even crazy too, because like, I love the part of almost like your dues, right? Like, they're like, no. And it's not that you were part of the kitchen and they were kind of like hazing you in a sense, but it was like, no, like you got to kind of earn it in a way, when you're in the kitchen. And then not only that, I find it fascinating that, like, off the bat, I know a lot of people that have done the restaurant industry and they're like, I'm good. I'm not there. So it was really cool to hear that is different from your side. But then not only that, but like, your job is waiting tables. Your job is waiting to check people in, do that stuff. And you were doing something else that you enjoyed more while you were waiting for your other job. So it's kind of cool to see that, like, that to you, it was just, you could almost kind of like be in your own zone of like, I want to learn how to cook. I want to learn how to cook. And your real job at that time, you're like, oh, I don't even want to go back out there and do it. You know what I mean? Like that's where you kind of wanted to focus. So that's really cool to see that like, that's kind of where your brain was at that point.
Yeah.
You know, learning how to do it and kind of saying like, no, like that's cool and all, but right? Like, I mean, the restaurant industry is crazy, but, and like you said, you like talking to people, you like doing that. But how can you do certain things? And even like you said, you recommend certain drinks. Can't do it unless you've tried it, right? Same thing with probably cooking, right? Like if you're going to recommend a dish, you're in your head probably like, well, I'd like to know what the shrimp scampi tastes like. Or I'd like to be able to say every time, the calamari is great. I know how we prep it. I know how we cook it. It's always excellent. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. So that's cool. That's awesome.
I think it was really the persistency and consistency and just the dedication to like, yo, teach me how to make something.
Yeah.
And eventually they broke in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a breaking. It was more of I kind of twisted their arm. I'm here. I'm throwing spatulas around. They're like, get out. And I'm just like, I'm not going to get out until you teach me how to do something.
I'm going to make your life hell if you don't teach me how to cook. Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, let's figure this out together, buddy.
Back when I was in college, I started to first learn how to cook, but I wasn't cooking much. I'm talking just like grilled chicken loaded up with the hot sauces and everything like that, and call it a day after that. I really need to get my ass back into the kitchen and like start learning how to cook some shit. You know what I mean?
It's like I can make scrambled eggs,
and
over easy.
That's right.
It's better than the majority of people. You'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm like, and I hate to admit this on a show that's focused on food, but like I am a uncooked snob in the sense that like I really always like my food cooked, like super cooked. So even now my fiance gets on me because like when I make eggs for her, she's like, please, when you think you're not done with them, put them in my pan because they're good. And I'll just like keep them on there. I'm like, no, they're good. And she's like, you're going to literally like burn them, like just like they're supposed to be like not a little bit runny, but you know, like you don't have to take everything out of it, Luke. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I got this. And she's like, okay, well, you can keep yours on, but I'm gonna take mine, you know. So, but that's like I don't like going places and ordering steak. So like, because
you don't like ordering?
No, because I'm embarrassed at what I get it at temperature wise.
Oh god.
So that's why like whenever we go to a steak place, I'm like, how's your chicken parm?
It's like society kind of puts that on you, like, oh, don't get your steak well done.
Exactly. And like I don't usually get it well done, but I there's a lot of, and I don't know if you've probably been to a good enough places in Jersey, but like most of the time when I tell places in Jersey to do it medium well, there's still a good amount of pink in there that I'm like, this is fine for me. Like this is still good. Where if I get it medium and it comes out, I'm like, you probably could have kept this on for about 5 more minutes and still been, good. But steak is a whole nother animal in that sense.
It is. I think you got to know the place for sure, and then you decide how you're gonna tell them to have it cooked and whatnot. But
there's, Jersey's is a good place. Jersey's a good place for you to have learned food, right? Because we have so much good food in this area that you have kind of been able to train your palate to a degree, right? Because if you probably made something for yourself, you're like, no, I don't like the Grease Wagon. Follow them. Definitely follow them if you're not already. Do it, whatever. Breakfast sandwiches. Oh, yeah. Where you're making breakfast sandwiches is probably not as popular as breakfast sandwiches are here. No, so
not at all.
Part of that is like you got to make sure you bring that Jersey twang to it. You know what I mean? Like making sure that like people get that taste of like, ooh, I feel like I'm back in Jersey. Doing that whole thing.
I tried to, but it didn't get the response I was really looking for. So I had the pork roll, egg, and cheese on the menu, and anyone who was from Jersey was like, "Oh, I can't believe you have this. We can't find this anywhere around
Exactly.
here." I'm like, "Well, it's actually in the grocery store because that's where I get it from. It's $3 more a box, but it is here. Like you can find it." And I had a sandwich on there. Shout out Minute Stop.
Yep.
Belly Buster, my favorite sandwich from there. So pork roll, bacon, egg, and cheese with a hash brown, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Oh, I've heard about this,
dude.
It's
the greatest sandwich ever. I had that on the menu. It didn't sell because people just didn't really understand.
They don't get it.
Yeah,
they don't get it like we do.
They didn't understand the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly. The complexity of the sandwich and the layers and.
Well, and you think about it too with Jersey, right? everyone knows a breakfast sandwich in Jersey. Not everyone knows a breakfast sandwich in the Arlington, D.C., you know, the Washington area as famously
which is
as
where
we
you're
do.
mainly
Yeah.
located,
Yes,
right?
that's where I'm now. I'm in Arlington. Well, I live in Arlington. The truck goes all over that Northern Virginia, D.C. area.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
Gotcha.
they're not as popular as they are in Jersey, to the point where, like Hayden said, we had so Minute Stop is down the road from me. If you've never had a Minute Stop belly buster,
I haven't. I've heard of it from multiple people.
After this, you should probably
you
go.
Probably just go right
if
over
you're
there,
like, I'm telling you right now, go on like a slower day, like not a weekend.
Yeah.
Go in. I've told them about it. I've raved about it forever. Like, I never liked going back. I mean, we always liked going to Terrace back in the day. Shout out Terrace, but like, not even in a bad way. It was like that was the meeting place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
right.
it was. I had a bias of going there. I mean, great food as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was right down the road from Minute Stop. So like, if anyone would come over back in the day, it was like early enough. I'm like, yo, let's run to Minute Stop,
Just
boys.
rip
Let's
it.
go right down
Yeah.
the street. It's literally not even 5 minutes down the road, and you're right there. And it was nice too, because it was just it's a hole in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one knows. If you saw that place, you would not be like, they make an awesome breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
And that's just another really cool thing about food. I don't know if you agree, is like those places that you can kind of keep like close to your chest, and you're like, yo, like if you, like even my job now, they make a mean calamari, and I'm like, when I tell people that my job makes a mean calamari, they're like, like, and that's been for 5 years. They're like, what? What do you mean it makes good calamari there? And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's good. So I always like to see that. But yeah, belly busters.
Can I add it to the
Unreal.
notes?
You gotta
My
try it.
mental
You
note
gotta
there?
try it. Gotta try it.
Will do. All right. So how did your launch go with the Grease Wagon? Where did you find it to be a long process in getting the truck, and do you need a license as well, or like a permit to park places? Like, what's that all about?
So to get the truck started, I went around to, there's a few places, probably about 45 minutes from where I live. They build the trucks out for you.
Yeah.
It was off camera. Too ugly.
you were off camera. I'm
Too ugly. I broke it.
No, I don't know why. It was recorded for... Wait, let me just check one more thing.
Well, we got you in audio, so
Yeah, that's right.
It's probably better.
Sorry about that.
take a photo.
I'm
Just
sorry
take a
about
photo
that.
of him.
Yeah.
Just take a photo of him,
It'll
and like
be
full.
like when you're in a Zoom meeting and it's just the person's photo.
Just oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
audio
We're good now,
playing
though.
over
I am
it.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
It was started beforehand, but okay.
Perfect.
Continue.
All right, let me backtrack. So
Yeah.
Getting started took me a while. I had to do a lot of research on where to get the truck from first. So there's a lot of these places that you can either buy a used truck, but it might not have the equipment that you necessarily need. The equipment's old and used and will most likely need to be repaired. And same thing with the truck, old, used, and gonna need repaired.
Yeah.
So I said probably better off getting one from scratch, doing it the way I wanted it, so that way I don't have to reconfigure anything and spend any extra money trying to fix something up, fix something that's could be broken. I have no idea. So I found two companies about 45 minutes from where I live, down in Virginia, owned by the same family, but they had decent reviews and they were close, so I figured I'd give them a shot. So I went 3 times. They gave me a tour. I spoke with one salesperson. I came back. I spoke with another salesperson, and they said you have to come back and speak with the owner if you actually want to go through.
Yeah.
So I came back for a third time, met with the owner for like an hour, said, all right, this is what I want to do. This is the size truck I want, and put my deposit down. So from that point, they go to an auction and they buy these either used UPS trucks or mail trucks, and they turn them into food trucks.
Oh, okay.
So I thought I was getting a brand new truck. I wasn't getting a brand new truck necessarily. The inside of the truck was going to be brand new, but the motor,
It was
everything, all the parts was used. And they say, we'll keep it anywhere in a range from 99,900 miles to 100,005. Sorry. So I got mine and it had 103,000 miles on it. I put the deposit down in May. They told me 8 to 12 weeks. I ended up getting the truck in September. Mind you, this was during COVID.
Oh my God.
Very hard to get parts.
Yeah.
They kept telling me, hey, we ordered your flat top. It's still processing.
Yeah.
It hasn't been delivered.
Oh my God.
I'll call 2 weeks later. Hey, still processing. We don't know what's going on. We're going to try a different company to try and get the flat top in for you. It might be a little bit more expensive. I said, well, I already put down half the money. You can't change the price on me because it's in the contract.
You can't, yeah.
So they fought with me on that, but I ended up telling them, listen, like, I put my deposit down. You have to honor the contract. So
And it was 5 months. I mean, it was 5 months, even with COVID and the difficulties. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's still a while. So I
Yeah.
ended up getting the truck in September. But to answer the other parts of the questions, licensing, permits, stuff like that, now I had to go back and I had to register my business with the state of Virginia. So I had to go in, fill out all that paperwork, open up an LLC, which I operate under, sole member LLC.
Yeah.
I had to then go from my business license. Once I got that, it took about 6 days to get approved. And you have to do everything via mail, so it's a little bit slower. Back then, again, everything was slower.
Yeah.
So
for
it was
sure.
just a headache. Everything was quite the headache, I'll say. Then once I got my business license, I can now go to the Arlington County, the county that I wanted to start the business, and I register the truck and get all my permits. So you have to get a health permit, and then you also have to get a vendor's permit. So for that, you have to go get your fingerprints done. You have to pay. You have to pay for the fingerprinting, and then you also have to pay for the permit, and then you have to also pay for a health permit. So once I got all that done through everything, I think it was like the middle of September. I ended up doing a soft launch at the end of September that was just family and friends came down for one day. I prepped for, I think, 16 hours the day before to get everything ready.
Yeah.
Got there the next day, still had a little bit more prep to do, finished that up, showed up, had a very small private event, just started dishing out food, and everything went out over really well. I asked for feedback and stuff like that. Everyone, provided me with feedback. Hey, this was, too salty. This might have been, too much sauce, not enough, whatever it was. So I went back, I workshopped everything, and then 14 days later, on October 6th of 2021, I opened.
Very nice.
Shit.
Very nice.
Good to see the persistence too. Like, I mean, I could only imagine how many people kind of get those curveballs thrown. And again, it's different because it was COVID, so I think everyone kind of expected difficulties and kind of things to come up. But for you to have a 5-month period from when you kind of wanted to start it to when it got to, and then not only that, being like, oh, you're getting a brand new truck.
Yeah.
Which again, it's like, yeah, like you're getting a brand new interior to the truck, but no one's in the truck besides you.
Exactly.
So the exterior is a huge, not concern, but like that's a huge benefit and thing that you have to deal with. And then not only that, but trucks are not easy to maintain after a certain 100,000, 200,000, 3. When you get to those higher miles, you're running into more problems, which is more overhead, more things you have to pay for in the long run with a mobile business. But I mean, it's crazy to see that, like, you were like, it's all not all good, but you were letting all those things kind of, you got to take chops at it, right? You're taking a chop. It's finally going to go out of there eventually. So,
and I would say at least you made a stand as far as they wanted more money for the truck too.
Yeah,
That's
they
just
were
something.
doing a lot of shady stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the owner of the business. He wasn't even there half the time. I was just talking to his sales staff. Then he fired the sales staff, so there was nobody in the office. So I would call some days 6, 7, 8 times, just go straight to voicemail because there's nobody in there. So then the next day I would drive down and the guy's still not there. So I would talk to his employees, and none of these guys spoke English. Like, luckily I know how to speak Spanish. So I was like, hey guys, like, where's the boss? Where's the boss? They're like, oh, he's not here. I'm like, where is he? He's like, oh, his wife's having a baby. So I was like, well, my truck was supposed to be done
2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, by the beginning of August, and this guy's not answering me. So I was like, this guy just took my money and kind of run.
Yeah. Right.
So it started to worry me a little bit. So, like, going back to the persistence thing, like, I would make a trip down there like once every 2 weeks, and then eventually once it got way too long, it was like every week I was going down there. I also didn't have much to do because COVID. I was out of a job, so all I was doing was planning, and I was like, all right, I've planned enough. Like, I just need to kind of get into it now. So I was like, when am I going to be ready? I have no idea. When am I going to be ready? No answer. When am I sending emails, calling, nothing. So was getting very, very worried. So then it's like, I just got to take this kind of into my own hands and go down there and
Well,
all the
first you got through that too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The other question I had too, as far as like the vendor's license. So when you get your vendor's license, does that mean you could go anywhere, or do you still need a separate permit to like be at a a festival, a carnival, a sporting event, anything like that?
So it depends on where it is.
Okay.
Also, if it's on private property as opposed to public property. So private property, I can go anywhere private property without a permit because it's that location's risk taking me on of having the truck. So I don't necessarily need to have the permits, but I do have permits for my county, the neighboring county, and then there's 2 counties that are a little bit further south I'm going to start doing a lot of business in. Just sent in 1 health permit, which I'm waiting to get an answer back on. Hopefully I'll get it either today or tomorrow. And then another one I'll submit later because they want you to come for the inspections right away. And usually my schedules, try to keep them as packed as possible. So
Sure.
Getting out to those inspections can be a little hard. And they mostly do them for some reason. I don't know if all the counties talk to each other or what it is. Tuesdays only. Everything's on Tuesdays. So I'm like, okay, Tuesdays I usually work all day. I'm out my door at 7:30. I'm home at 11. So I was like, when do you want me to come for an inspection?
When do you want me to
drop
figure this
off
out?
paperwork? So, I mean, I would wish they'd work with us a little bit more and open it up. I mean, there are 7 days in a week. I know they probably only work 5, but it's only
5 is stretch in my opinion.
it's only open it up for one day, and it's not even a full day. It's kind of hard to get there, but sometimes you got to
11
say,
to 3.
hey, I can't take on this event today because I have to go drop off paperwork. It sucks, but you got to do what you got to do in order to make sure you can stay in business.
Well, because not only that too, but like I guess end goal, right? You lose 1 event to gain 10.
Yeah.
It levels out,
Exactly.
Like once you get a permit for another county, it's like, oh, bet. Like
sure.
much as you want to be able to like you want to be able to please everyone, right? Like like I've always been taught too of like there's always going to be someone that just wants to be difficult or makes things difficult, not exactly in the same sense, but there's always going to be that negative or that thing that's there, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes it's not always for that person, or sometimes it's like, hey, like this is a sacrifice I have to make. As much as I'd love to do an event or I'd love to do your stuff, I don't really have the opportunity to because this is going to in turn make me 10 more jobs, 15 more jobs, and then those 15 jobs will turn into 30 in other counties. So you got to look at it with growth, you know what I mean, with something like that.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
So say like when you're in like DC, right? And you're just on the street. You still need the permit for like the city there?
So I don't do just set up on the street in DC because they have a very, very intense
Like
system.
strict policies.
Very,
sort of
very
deal?
strict.
Oh, yeah.
To get permitted in DC, just to get your health permit, not any of the other permits or licenses you need, it's $3,500 like right off the bat.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's Arlington's $40.
Wow, what
So I was like,
maybe that's mainly just cities though, right? Like I'm sure that would probably be the same for New York too.
Yeah, New York, Boston, like all the cities would have
Major
hiked
cities,
up rates, but like for me to get my health permit, like Arlington County and then Fairfax County, which is the county next to it, cost me $40. The one I just submitted, they're like, "Can you please send us a $40 check?" I'm like, "I'll send you 10 $40 checks because it's less."
It's less than
it's less than
exactly,
DC.
right?
I'm willing to do that.
And I would imagine probably this might just be me thinking maybe not too far into it, but DC, another reason they can probably charge more is that 90% of not DC is free, but when you go to New York City, if you're going anywhere, it costs money. Every attraction, every museum, everything.
Yeah.
DC, every museum is free for the most part.
It's true.
So when you go to all of these museums, when you leave a museum and you see the grease wagon right out front, they're going to make that money because the amount of visitors they have every year to DC is astronomical. So like I was just there a couple months ago, we were talking about it, and when I was there, I was seeing all these trucks that don't move. They just stay there because at that point, if his goal is mobilization in a degree, I want to be in this county, I want to move around, DC is probably not even your target audience in the sense that the trucks that are in DC are just like, I'm not moving. Same thing with like in the city, like the nuts to whatever, like they're there.
Yeah,
True.
So DC does have what's called a lottery system, which is why you see those trucks there. That's their spot.
Yep, there you go.
But if it's every couple of weeks or every month, I believe, you get re-entered into the lottery system.
Oh, there you go.
Then you have to move. So you're not guaranteed to be in a good location all the time.
Yeah.
You pay money for your health permit, and then you also have to pay money to get into the lottery.
Oof.
So
Sounds like fun.
you just keep forking over money, and you can get screwed because you can get put in an area in DC where there's no foot traffic, and it's you and 10 other trucks, and then you're you get the location, but you don't get an exact spot. So
Yep.
then you're fighting for spots. Like I want to be on the corner closer to where the crosswalk is so people can see me from the other side.
Right.
Yep.
I want to be right in the middle so that, I'm sandwiched on the ends, but people might tend to walk past the ones on the ends and look towards the ones in the middle. Everyone's got a different philosophy on where they want to set up.
Sure, yeah.
So it becomes very difficult, and I just didn't want to deal with that headache of I got to show up for lunch. It starts at 10 at 6 a.m.
I was gonna say, even maybe earlier to fight some of the people off that are like, I'm just gonna get the best spot,
Yeah.
So I didn't see it like that making sense to me. Like, just it's a very stressful job as it is, and just adding more stress on top of it just wasn't something that I wanted to do, especially to start out, because I just kind of wanted to get my bearings first and see where I wanted to go and how things went, and then it's like maybe I'll go into DC, but then all these trucks I see coming out of DC. They're like, "Do you do DC?" I said, "No." They're like, "Good." They're like, "You're smart," and I'm like, "I am smart," but
yes, I am. Thank you very much.
I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't want to deal with those headaches. So maybe I was smart for not wanting to deal with headaches. But I mean, I was like, this guy's been in this industry for 15 years, telling me I'm smart. Like, I don't think so, but I'll take it.
You'll take for sure.
But it's like it almost feels like to some of those degrees, and again, I have no real clue like that, but it almost does feel like some places you will have more success with being in outside of it, because you don't get that immediate headache of as much as like you're in the middle of DC, like you said, if there's 5 other trucks you're competing with, there's probably going to be more days that you have bad days than good days, in the sense that you're competing. If you're in a spot that's got 5 other food trucks, you have to hope that one's not pizza, one's not similar to yours,
like
one,
2 pizzas.
You know what I mean? Like imagine that, like exactly,
like that. Yeah,
it's like you're going to immediately be fighting with who the 5 today. It's you and then 2 other trucks that specialize in similar items.
Yeah. Right.
Then it goes down to price, and it's like, well, you can't move your price that much, because it's like, this is what I have it fixed at. This is how much I'm doing it, and then it's that $1, that 50 cents that. Those all go into effect, So that's that. Yeah. It seems like that's like you said, blessing in disguise almost. That like it's like, hey, absolutely. These people are telling me that I'm smart. I'm fucking smart.
Yeah, I mean, I need it from other people, because I definitely don't tell myself that.
Yeah, we're just like, nah, I'm good. Yeah. You're doing something right?
Yeah.
That was also another question that I had on here too, was like how competition is, like what it's like with other food trucks and everything like that. And Luke brought up a great point where, like, what if there are 2 trucks right next to each other that are selling similar things? Is there a coordination system where, like, you're all kind of trying to help each other out in a sense? You know what I mean? Is there any communication like that?
So I would say for DC, it's definitely a little different there. I don't think there is coordination whatsoever. It's literally... You said there's no rules, right? So I can curse.
Yeah.
It's a fucking shit show.
Yeah. It's a fucking shit show. Okay, gotcha.
Like, people fist fighting in the streets for like parking. Like, oh, you do the same thing as me. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, people are like rude and nasty like that, and I'm just that's something that I don't want to deal with.
Right.
So I've done a few festivals. I have a lot more coming up this year. But what they always like to do is they'll ask you, what type of products do you serve? What is your specialty? So if I was like, hey, I'm a taco truck, they'll probably be like, hey, we have so many other taco trucks.
You're out, yeah.
But I'm like, hey, I'm American style sandwich truck. We do breakfast all day, hot classic American sandwiches, fat sandwich creations, and fried appetizers. And they're like, okay, we have none of those.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, what? They're like, yeah, everyone that applies is a taco truck, a pizza truck, a barbecue truck. We don't have like a strict American style sandwich truck.
Wow.
That's what I found. We can go back to your initial question, like getting started. I did a lot of research on what was around me and like what my potential competition could be.
Yeah.
So I found, because when you get inspected from the county, they have a log of all the food trucks in the area. Mm-hmm. So I just went on the page, I wrote them all down, put it into an Excel file, the name of the truck, what type of cuisine, and then I organized it out from there. 72 trucks in Arlington. 58 of them were Spanish food or a taco truck.
Wow.
There was 3 dessert trucks, like 2 burger trucks, and then 1 like upscale kind of sandwich place.
That's crazy.
Not place, truck. So I was like, okay, nobody really focuses on breakfast. I mean, they might have a few breakfast items, but like nobody has like breakfast sandwiches like you would walk into a Minute Stop.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I was like, that's definitely a need. So I was like, let me go and do that.
I feel like that might have been perfect for you in that sense, no?
I mean, breakfast is my favorite.
Yeah,
I love
right.
breakfast food. So I was like, I can just serve this to people, and like hopefully they'll have the same affinity for it that I have.
Yeah.
Right.
It was there. I mean, it's starting to grow a little bit more because now I have it advertised that we serve breakfast all day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you seen anyone start to like kind of in like coming at you for that? Like, have you seen any other trucks similar like to you opening up in the area? Like,
No,
not afterwards necessarily, but like, oh, like now this guy's selling breakfast items too, or anything like that, or
not really.
Cool.
I would say if anything, people try to do better what they know.
yeah,
It's because it doesn't make sense for them to go outside their comfort zone and try and do something that someone else is doing.
yeah,
Like I thought to myself, maybe I should add tacos onto the truck.
yeah,
Because they're quick, they're easy, it's
They're-
very
yeah.
cheap to make. But I was like, that's not what my main focus of the truck is. I'm a sandwich truck. Like, yeah, I guess you can classify a taco as a sandwich if you really want to. It's really a taco.
yeah,
Whatever. But I was like, why do something that I'm not comfortable with that I might fail at, and it might slow me down. It might not be great. Customers might not enjoy it.
Right.
I already have stuff that I would say is proven because people do give me a lot of feedback like, hey, we really like this, we really like that. So I know that, the food is good. So I, just try and stay within myself and not do anything outside the competition. But to go on the competition question more, where I store my truck now, I have a commissary kitchen. There's a lot of other trucks there. So we all try and refer each other to business. So
cool.
There's a festival coming up in March. Place needed a pizza truck. I know I'm very friendly with another food truck couple. They own two pizza trucks now. So I was like, hey, do you have one available for March 5th? They're like, yeah, we do. I'm like, all right, I'm going to call this guy. He's going to give you a call. They texted me like 20 minutes later, like, hey, thanks so much. Like 5,000 people on a Sunday. That's great.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. And even
I'm
if
like,
you
yeah.
got 1/5 of that business, it's 1,000 people. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
or even half of that, 500 people on one day is gonna help out business a lot.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. So I try to not alienate competition because there are so many places, so many events that need trucks, and there's
Yeah.
sometimes not always. I could be booked and somebody wants me, but I'm like, hey, why don't you try these guys? Let me give you their contact information.
Yeah.
And they'll reach out to me. They're like, why did you refer me? So I can't be in two places at once, and you guys weren't booked, so I'd rather you guys go make the money than them not have anybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, plus it's better for us.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why? I'm like, because now that place would be like, hey, this guy really isn't selfish. He doesn't want all the events.
Exactly.
He was able to refer us to another truck. And I'm not in it because I want all the money. Like, I can only take on what I can take on, right?
Yep.
So if there's anything extra, I'm happy to share it because I can't handle it. So
Yeah.
I might as well pay it forward to someone because eventually down the road, I know somebody else
Someone
will,
could be
will
paying
pay
it back,
and
right?
People,
Yeah.
people have helped me out to get me kind of started. So
Right,
I
there
really
you go.
appreciate that. And I show my appreciation by kind of paying it back to someone else.
And that's kind of karma too. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
you can believe in kind of whatever you want, but like it's that like, that good energy, like you're helping someone else that either that person's going to help you because hey, like you gave me a job that they're going to give you in turn, or like you said, if you're talking to an immediate place and you're like, hey man, like sorry, I can't make it. X, Y, and Z is going to be a great spot for you. Go do this, do that, whatever it might be. It's going to be great for when you do that. You toss it over to that person, and then that person's like, great, I got you. We're gonna
Yeah.
work with you from now on because we like how you handled business, kind
Exactly,
of thing.
yeah.
I would also say that's part of the reason why that guy told you it was a good thing you were staying out of DC. Instead of yelling at each other, you guys are helping
Yeah.
each other out in that sense.
Well, the thing is the woman double booked us for an event, so he was leaving when I was showing up, and I was like, "Are you here too today?" He said no, and then we just started to talk, and then he's like, "I was like, how long have you been doing this?" He said 15 years. He said, "What about you?" It's like 5 months. And he was like,
couple days.
He was like, "Do you go to DC?" I said, "No." He goes, "You're smart." I said,
All
"Well,
right.
I'm literally I'm not even a half a year into this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really just trying to get my bearings." So
Yeah, but it's almost better that you didn't, right? Like it's
Exactly,
almost like
yeah.
because like you had even said, it's like it almost seems like the better thing to do is go to one of those major cities, and then you're like thinking about it, you do it, and then you start doing the research, and you're like, oh, no, it's not the better
Right,
thing
it's-
to do. This is miserable, and then like learning it and hearing it from other people that have probably done it
Yeah.
years on years, you're like, oh, I'm good on that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
Like, I'm out. You know?
I think it would be a little bit different if like you're very well rounded and established with your food truck. Maybe you have multiple trucks down the
Yep.
line too, and then you do get a spot like in the city, and you keep that one there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your other truck is
It's
moving
rotating,
along.
yeah.
You're rotating and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your menu a little bit. I got a couple questions about that. Do you have a set menu throughout every week? Is it like the same thing every week, and then you have like your specials, some things you change up?
So I have set menu. It's usually the same menu every day. Sometimes when I do big events, I have to narrow the menu down, and I usually try and do some sort of combination. Whether it's usually consists of a sandwich and then fries on the side, with a drink or without a drink. It all depends on what the organizer chooses. That's just for speed of service.
Yep.
If 500 people I have to get through, I'm not going to open up the full menu because it's a very large menu. There's a lot of items, and it takes sometimes a while to go through everything, put in the POS system, and then have to go and make the food because it's usually more often than not just myself on the truck.
Yeah.
It's just one person. So it's a lot. So when I do those big events, I do bring somebody else with me, whether it's a friend or whoever. And we just, hey, you just drop fries in the fryer.
Yep.
I'm going to make cheeseburgers, hot dogs, whatever it is, veggie burgers, and we're going to put them together. People walk up. We usually do a ticket system. So they'll hand us a ticket. We hand them food. So
Cool.
it's an quick exchange like that. And then usually after the event, we'll keep our tickets and we'll say, we had 100 tickets, $10 a person. This is how much you owe us.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
something like
Smart.
that.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's
just ease of service. But like sometimes people, I'll go to like a corporate event and they're like, oh, we have like 75 people. So I'm like, all right, I can keep the whole menu open today.
Yeah.
So 75 people, not everybody comes to the truck too. Some people have dietary restrictions. Whatever it is, they don't eat at that time of the day. Someone, doing some crazy diet fad or whatever. Who knows?
Whatever it might be.
So you're not going to get 100% of the 75 people, but even if you get 50%, that's still a decent day. Usually the average spend is for lunch now around $16, $17 a person.
It's crazy.
So
insane.
what's
your favorite thing on the menu / most recommended for people to eat? It could be the same thing.
So my favorite item on the menu is Fat Tony sandwich. It's
Okay.
chicken parm sub, mozzarella sticks on top.
Oh yeah.
Just can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with that.
Sounds good.
It sounds pretty
Sounds
good.
solid.
You can't really go wrong. I mean, it's just a very cheesy sandwich, super greasy, because you got the fried cutlet and you got the mozzarella sticks, and the melted cheese. It's just a very, very good sandwich in my opinion. I really enjoy it. If I'm gonna have like a cheat meal, that's what
your
I go
cheat
to like 10 times out of 10.
Is that your favorite thing to make on the menu? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have something that I don't like making.
Yeah.
Because everything I try to keep it under 5 minutes from a ticket time, because you really don't want to have a long wait.
No.
Because especially, like I said, it's just one person. So, like,
Yeah.
I got to throw this in the fryer and put this on the grill. So I'm just like, all right, like, how can I make this faster? I used to have sandwiches with way more ingredients. It would take me 10 to 12 minutes to make. So I had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just slowing me down, backing me up. So I was like, all right, I can do this faster, so why don't I maybe change it to this? But most recommended sandwich would be the Fat Philly cheesesteak. It's your regular Philly cheesesteak, so you got sliced ribeye meat, caramelized onions, onion rings, and provolone cheese. And then I have a homemade onion ring sauce, which I put on the sandwich.
An onion ring sauce.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to if you ever gone to Outback Steakhouse, the bloomin' onion sauce.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's fairly similar to that. I think obviously I'm a little biased, but I think mine's a little bit better. But yeah,
It probably
that
doesn't come out of like a Ziploc bag.
Oh right.
no, it does not come out of a
Probably
Ziploc
make
bag.
it pretty fresh. But I
It's
don't know.
not.
Shout out Outback, but
No free shout outs.
yeah, whatever. Sponsor the pod or don't, whatever.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. It's made almost weekly.
Cool.
About a gallon a week of it. So
He drinks it sometimes.
go through a lot. It goes on that sandwich, and then it gets sided with anytime you order onion rings, it comes on the side. Unless you say no, I don't want it. So
Cool.
Right.
There you go.
The other thing I wanted to ask too about your portions of food, like that you buy for, say, the day or for the week, for that matter. I'm sure you have it researched where it's like, okay, this is my average selling point per week or maybe even per day. This is how much I should buy. Have you ever had moments, maybe even in the beginning, where food just like went to waste in a sense? They went bad?
yeah, so in the beginning, I didn't really know how to gauge business because I've worked in restaurants, so I know, okay, like a restaurant on a said day will do X amount of sales. So I know, okay, I can maybe buy this amount of food and I'll be sufficient.
Right.
But I was overbuying because in the beginning I was setting up, I wouldn't say in bad locations, but nobody really knew I was there because I was brand new. Nobody knew the Grease Wagon. So I would go set up right outside a metro station in Arlington because I thought, there'd be a lot of foot traffic around that area.
Yeah.
People going to and from work, to and from D.C., to and from wherever they have to go.
Yeah.
It's just people constantly going in and out of the metro station.
Yep.
So first week, I think I did like $500 in sales total, which I thought I'd be doing a day. So I bought a lot of food. And then I ended up having to put a lot of food in the freezer because I prepped all this stuff and I was like, well, I didn't sell any of it and it's going to go bad. So I can't eat all of it because then I'd be at a loss and I'd probably also be like 400 pounds. So what's the next best thing? So I would portion things out and throw them in the freezer. So the first I would say 3 months were very crucial for me to learn my spending habits, stocking the truck what I needed on a daily basis. But the thing is I started in October. So those 3 months were November, December, and January. So it gets very cold.
Yeah.
But also, I think I was open for about 2 weeks and my truck broke down.
Oh, man.
So
of course.
I had the truck for 14 days, made a little bit of money, and then every single dollar I made, plus a little bit I had in savings, right into the truck. So I was out until right around Thanksgiving. I shut down Thanksgiving and then came back in. So from December to February was really when I was gauging that business. So I was like, I don't really need to spend that much. March comes, gets a little busier.
Yeah.
I'm running out of food, so I'm having to make more trips to Restaurant Depot, or luckily for me, my apartment building is above a grocery store, so I can just shoot down the elevator right to the grocery store, and then I'll go get stuff. But I was doing that way, way too often.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really keeping in my mind, like, okay, like, you spent this much, like, and you have this much left over, so you don't have to spend. I would just kept repeating it over and over again, and not increasing or decreasing based on business, which was a big mistake I had to learn very fast because you keep looking at your bank accounts and you're like, it's not a lot of money in here, but I did like a decent amount of business. And like, where did it all go? And you look at your credit card bill, you're like, ooh, that's a big number. Like, how did that get so large? And then you go through all your transaction and it's like Restaurant Depot. I'm like, why did I go 3 times in 1 week? I didn't need to go. I only needed to go once. But now I go once on Monday. I do my inventory. I'll show you on my phone. I have my grocery list listed out, everything I need to get. And I have PARs, so what everything it's supposed to be at. So
cool.
Oh, my phone's good. So like that's just my grocery list, quantities.
Oh, there you go.
Gotcha.
So I just go through, and then everything it gets plugged into my Excel sheet. Like once I buy it. It's
logging it all in.
Logging in.
I
see what you did there.
On,
wow, I saw what you did there. Wow.
I didn't think we'd get a log reference in.
Damn, man, that was crazy. But no, that's sick. And is there any specific item? Obviously, it's probably easier to say like eggs or something like that. But is that your most commonly used item? Rolls, eggs, cheese. What would it probably be?
My most French fries.
Fries.
French fries. Go through a lot of fries. About 90 pounds of fries a week.
Wow.
That's 3 cases of fries.
Okay.
Cool. I thought I was the only one doing that.
No.
Yeah.
It makes me think of just how restaurants do it.
Oh my
dude.
God,
Like,
yeah, crazy.
The amount with them.
Yeah, well, they're lucky enough where they can go through bigger suppliers.
Sure, yeah.
They
But I'm
basically-
just saying, still the amount.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Well, you
Wow.
hear 90 from him, and then you're multiplying it in your head. But like you know,
Right,
like
right.
he's saying too, it's probably crazy to see. And like eventually, you'll probably even get to a point where you'll be getting them at a better price, right? Because I know food even now is expensive.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the thing is like Restaurant Depot will be like, hey, we're having a sale. If you're not in there that next day, you're not going to get it. Like,
it's
they
done.
had fries on sale. They were on sale. They were like $5 off a box, which is
That's
huge.
major, yeah.
huge, yeah.
I go in. They sent out an email on Sunday. I went in Monday morning at like maybe 8:30, sold out. And they have on the door of the freezer like limit like six cases per person
Yeah.
because they don't want it to sell out so fast. They sell out. So you ask the guys, you're like, hey, you guys got any more of these? I use straight cut fries. They're like, you got any more of the straight cut fries? They're like, sold out. I'm like, you guys open up at 6. It's 8:30. You guys sold out already? They're like, sold out. I'm like, all right. So I was like, I guess I'll have to go with the crinkle cut fries. So
Yeah.
I don't like not being consistent. So I had to
Yep.
change it up for literally 1 week. They were sold out. And then like this past week, onion rings went on sale. The onion rings were out. I tried to get there early. Just out. I'm like,
Just didn't work
you guys
again.
out already? And he was like, yeah.
Yep.
So you got to get here earlier. I'm like, well, I would come at 6 a.m., but like I got home from work last night at 11, so like it doesn't really work out.
Trying to get some sleep.
Yeah, I would like to close my eyes for like a half a second.
Yeah, right.
Might as well just sleep in the parking lot. I mean, it might be.
I was gonna say it's like
It's
like
might-
camping out in front of a
sneaker
GameStop
store? Yeah,
or a sneaker store or something.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah,
definitely a sneaker.
doing a
store.
sneaker release. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Waiting
It's just
for the new
Luke in
Jordans.
line.
Yeah, waiting for the new Jordans.
Sorry,
Is
we
that
don't do
Luke
this
up in the
thing.
front of
Yeah.
mine? Yeah, I'm buying French fries now, dude. You didn't hear? Yeah, fuck sneakers,
They're
dude.
on
I'm all
sale.
about French fries now.
New drop.
Yeah, if you need, I'm your new guy. I'm your supplier. I'm your
Yeah.
plug. Oh my god.
When did business start picking up for you? Was it because of location and weather, would you say, or were there other factors involved too?
Yeah, those are definitely huge factors. I
Yeah, I
would
was
say
gonna say.
weather more than location, but location's still very, very important.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, for instance, it was, I think the highest temperature I got to was maybe 38 degrees. But this past week, it was in the 50s and 60s. And there was a notable increase in sales. I think my sales were up like 17 or 18% from the week before.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's crazy. I was like just talking to my dad, and I was like, it's crazy that 20 degrees gave me almost a 20% increase.
Yeah,
in sales.
right.
It's like a correlation almost.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty crazy. And he was like, well, hopefully it just gets warmer. I'm like, I can only thank global warming for this.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Knock on wood, it hasn't snowed there. We had a little dusting, that was it. But other than that, it hasn't snowed at all this winter. So I lucked out because last winter was bad. It was cold, snowing
Yep.
a lot. I don't know if you guys remember, but the DC area, there was huge traffic. People got stuck overnight for over 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
On 395 trying to go north.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were trying to avoid the snowstorm and go somewhere else, and they all got stuck on the highway.
They all went the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, over 12 hours. They were all something crazy.
Damn.
Now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just lucky that it hasn't been this cold, because like even rain affects business because
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm not inside, I'm outside, so I am dealing with the elements 24/7.
Yep.
So any slight change in weather for the negative does negatively impact business. So
Absolutely.
wake
That's
up every
crazy.
day and I'm like, is it gonna rain? I see it and I'm like, oh, please not when it's I'm starting up, or hopefully it'll be in between when I'm going from a lunch to a dinner. It rains
Yeah.
for like an hour. Never happens that way, but
Yeah, and exactly. Never works the way you want it to.
Yeah.
But
I could see the only benefit of it being cold weather, and this could be a very small benefit. I don't really know, but having hot cocoa on the truck to sell or
Yeah.
something like that, like
probably a
people
tough
wanna
sell
warm
though.
up.
A breakfast sandwich and a hot chocolate. But
it
you got a
is.
I don't
breakfast
know,
sandwich. So
man.
it's, but it's a
Yeah.
hot. It's a hot breakfast sandwich.
That would
So your
only help
food is
too,
already
all right?
yeah, but your food is already hot. I'm not gonna. Personal thing. I've
Yeah.
never understood the whole chocolate milk with breakfast items thing with a breakfast sandwich. I don't
Really?
know. It's just me, I think.
Chocolate milk is kind of my favorite.
Yeah,
milk.
I love chocolate milk. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like I'm gonna have that with like something that's not bacon, egg, and cheese.
Okay, that
Like I'm gonna have something fruitier in comparison to a milk-based
orange
thing because of
juice.
milk and cheese and it's heavy.
I kind of get you,
know?
but kind of don't. I would
Okay.
still have.
You would still do
I
it.
feel like it's
Cool.
a milk in the morning thing, and then they just kind of added chocolate to it. So
Yeah.
it stayed in the morning, but I am more of a juice person in the morning.
Yeah.
Orange juice, apple juice, just
Yeah.
something.
Apple juice is tier 1. Orange juice tier 2, tier 1.
I think orange juice is better than apple juice.
I think you're crazy.
What do you think?
I've always loved apple juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love orange. I've always loved orange juice, but like here's my thing: you never have to worry about pulp in apple juice.
Or after you
True.
brush your teeth or before
Yeah.
you brush your teeth.
Oh, that's a big factor with orange
Yep.
juice.
So, yeah.
Big factor.
Like
with that. Yeah.
we could do a whole episode on trying juices right after we brush our teeth and seeing which ones.
Different kind
honestly-
of toothpaste. And
I
Yep.
honestly don't hate that
no
idea.
pulp in pulp.
That's a pretty good idea.
It almost sounds like a fantasy
Experimental.
football punishment. Like, like, this is what you have to do for the entire
swing
day.
this mouthwash and then drink some
my God.
orange juice.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
So, what have you been to any big events yet where you parked your truck, or like smaller events too, where you were there for the whole day, basically?
Yeah, so I've done one large event. It was a lot of the breweries in the rural areas of Virginia are on farms. So they have massive properties, just acres and acres of land.
Yeah.
So I did one in the end of the season. I think it was either in October or November. This is like usually festival season for trucks is any time from July until
Like September, maybe?
it's September, October-ish.
Okay, yeah.
So I did one. It was like their end of the year festival because they shut down the brewery for the winter time. They just kind of do crops or whatever.
I feel like the breweries are huge with
Huge,
food
yeah.
trucks.
Yeah, that's mainly where I go now.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of traffic. Like I just posted my schedule. I think I have 3 breweries this week and then 2 or 3 next week. I try to have at least 2 from now until the end of the season.
Have you ever ran into any trouble with like breweries? Because obviously, like you involve yourself in like parking on the curb or at a job or at a workplace. You're not going to deal with like a drunk person as frequently. So like, is there been any like negative like reaction to anyone ever, or like have you ever had that with like a brewery, like where just a drunk? You always get one drunk asshole at some kind of an event.
It's funny you say that because on Saturday I did have an issue.
Oh god.
So I was at a brewery. They were having a show, and they were like, "Hey, the show's from 7 to 9. Make sure you're staffed up." And I was like, "All right, I'll ask some people to help me." I asked people to help me. Everyone's doing something else.
Yeah.
So, I can only do what I can.
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
I can't
exactly,
force somebody to come and work for me, especially
Yeah.
when it's an hour and a half away from where you live.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough.
I was like, "Hey, I'll pay for your gas if you come out." Nobody's gonna really want to go an hour and a half out of their way to work when they're off. So I ended up getting a line, and the line kept growing and growing, and I'm trying to move through these people. They're all at a brewery, so they're all drinking, and this one guy's like, "Hey man, I used to work at a deli, let me come in." So I jokingly was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, the door's over there." And I thought it was locked, the back door.
Yeah.
Guy opens the back door, comes in the truck. I'm like, "Dude, you gotta get out. You gotta get out. You can't be in here." He's like, "Oh, my bad." On the way out, he jumped and I guess held onto the door and ripped the door off
Oh my
the
god.
hinges. So I have to go repair that when I get home now.
Oh my God.
But I was told it's going to be anywhere from $150 to $250 to repair. So even though I made money that day, now I got to
Right.
take a cut of that little cut of that
you're-
to go. Anyway, the woman from the brewery actually emailed me and said that I was being rude to customers, and I was like, so I had to tell her what happened because she had no idea.
Yeah.
So then
That's
after
crazy.
that, no response from her. So I was like, obviously she realized that something happened. So
Right.
she was in the wrong for her telling me that I had a bad attitude when someone just ripped the
Rip
door
my
off
door
the
off
hinges.
you.
So
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah. And
I
I mean,
was
again,
like-
like you said, like you're a one-man show. Your business is growing. Not that you're allowed to be rude to patrons, but like all these different things are happening. You're swamped. You can only get so many people to help you.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, you can only do so much, like
Yeah.
before these people. It's always funny because I always say it's like you're always in the wrong even when you're not in the light of the customer. That's just kind of like the shitty thing with just like any business you're in. You can do so much to help these people. And I tell like friends this, I tell my fiance this all the time. It's like, no one's ever going to rave about you when you're doing well. They're only going to rave about you when you're doing wrong. You know, but like the 100 people at that festival, they'll be like, yo, like the food was amazing. They're not gonna write anything, sadly enough.
No,
but you know who will? Oh, I found a hair, a blonde hair in my
Yelpers.
food. He's got brown hair.
Yeah.
He doesn't have long blonde hair. The guy's girlfriend has long blonde hair. You know, so it's like there's always someone that wants to cause a problem or just someone wants to unload on you. So
Yeah,
For sure.
it's that's the unfortunate thing about the service industry in general,
And
right?
If you don't learn that sooner rather than later in the service industry that you can't make everybody happy, you're just going to stress yourself out. And like you said earlier, those people that get out of the service industry and they wipe their hands of it, they never want it again. That's more often than not those people. They don't realize that, hey, I'm trying to make everybody happy. Why is this not working? You can't. It's literally impossible. One person said this is too salty. One person said this has enough salt. So what am I supposed to do? Not put any salt on it? Or put a medium amount of... How do I know it's a medium amount of salt to somebody? So I just keep doing whatever I do. I have standards and procedures in place. This is how I do things. If you don't like it, I apologize. Because more often than not, a majority of the people do like it.
There you go, right.
And then it's
nobody
like...
reviews it, like you said.
And it's not only that. It's like, let's say... someone comes back or like you see someone 6 months later, 3 months later, right? And they're like, hey, like, you know, I loved your burger, but it was a little salty for me. Do you have anything else that you maybe would recommend that's not as salty? Oh yeah, hey, the chicken parm. Like, right? Like, it's as simple as like how you word things to people to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm going to him, I also don't want to piss him off if he's making my food. Not that you're going to do anything, but like he's making my food.
Yeah.
So why would I not want him to make it to the best of his ability so I have it? I'm like, yo, this is fire.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to piss him off? So then like I have it and I'm like, oh, like it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to like, oh, it's rubbery. And then I'm going to write on Yelp. It does nothing. You know what I mean?
Also,
so
for all those in the food industry or review on Yelp, Yelp is the biggest scam of all time. Yelp basically you have to pay to be on their platform. The more you pay, the higher that they represent you on their website, and also the more they'll hide negative reviews. But if you don't pay them or you pay the minimum, they will put all the negative reviews first, and they'll put all your good reviews, and there's a hidden section on Yelp, so they won't get seen unless you meet their standards and pay them money. So Yelp is a scam. Do not review on Yelp. Don't participate with Yelp. Talking to you people.
don't sponsor the
I
pod,
did
you
not know that. That's
scumbags.
actually, that's fucked up.
Hashtag cancel Yelp.
Better way to go about it would be Google reviews. Also, if you review my truck, negative or positive, and you write your name, next time you come, say, hey, I left a review, your next meal is comped. Because I want to know how I'm doing. I want to be able to progress. If I don't get any feedback, I'll never know.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll keep either making the same mistakes or keep doing things the way I'm doing.
Any feedback is good feedback.
Exactly.
And
So
constructive criticism.
Even if you say like, hey, I like the design of the truck. Next time you come, comp your meal.
And you know what I've found, and like I hate to say this out loud, but I'm like, I can low key be a Karen with certain things that I do. Like that's just who I am. But it's only certain things, right? Like I've said this about my Starbucks. I buy a $7 cup of coffee from Rook, from Starbucks, whatever it might be, right? 9 out of 10 times, and like luckily the one I go to up by my apartment, I'm like very close with the staff. They know me, like literally they say hi to me every time. They know my drink right off the bat, so they're making it. I'm good. 9 out of 10 times, if something's wrong, I just tell them though. I'm like, yo, like this didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, same thing with like if I have a bad customer experience with like a website I buy something from.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on Instagram or on Facebook until the last second, right?
Right.
To review it. I'm going to DM this person. I'm going to message them. I'm going to send an email. It's that simple that, like, if you have a bad experience, same thing I'd ask for, same thing with you, right? Message them first. Say what happened. Then you can look back and be like, oh, my God, yeah, sorry. Like, we were out of fries that day because there's a huge shortage in the air.
Yeah.
If you're not a human, you're an idiot and you don't understand that. But like there's sympathy that you have. Like I've been fighting with a company that I've had a pair of shoes that I haven't gotten for like a month now. And I'm like, what's the deal? You're not giving I'm getting no tracking, no info, whatever. But I'm just like, I just need you to give me an update. Like I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I just need updates from this. In comparison to I bought a hat from a company and Instagram, like, you know, like an ad service of like old vintage looking style hats.
Yeah.
I bought hats from there like 2.5 months ago, and I have been ghosted ever since I DM'd them the first time. I like DM'd them the first time. They were like, hey, like, sorry about that. We're super backed up right now. We're going to get it out shortly. From that point on, I've messaged them. I've DM'd them. I've tried calling a number that's there. I've posted on all of their stuff. Nothing. So that's when it's like, that's when you can then go and bash someone.
Sure.
If they're doing something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, if it takes you 2 seconds to DM him and you know, like, if you DM it at 2 o'clock, are you working? Yeah. So you're not going to get a response until that night. So don't go at 2 and then at 3 o'clock, you're like, fuck it. He didn't answer me quick enough. I had a terrible experience at X, Y, and Z. Give it that time, right? Like, you'll wait 72 hours to hear back from, you know, any of these big companies.
Yeah, absolutely, right.
You can't, with a mom and pop or a small shop, you can't give it the benefit of the doubt of giving them 5 hours, 7 hours
Right.
to do a response.
And
you
I
know?
would also
So-
say 9 times out of 10, you'll either get a resolution or you'll get an understandable reasoning of why something didn't work out, and that's it.
But
And
most people aren't reasonable, so
No,
right.
therefore they just jump the gun, they rip you, and they just want the attention of, oh, hey, I had a bad experience, so now I got to put this out there and let everybody
Right.
know. Like 9 times out of 10, no offense, nobody cares about your opinion.
No,
Yeah, right.
no.
Right, it's true.
Because I tell people this all the time, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and the majority of the time they fucking stink.
But
I love it.
listen,
I love that.
that's why Thanos was not in the wrong. I say this every podcast we have. I mean, we're going to lose a bunch of good people along the way, but it's just shitty to see that, like, and that's part of the reason I always say, like, social media is good and it's bad, right? It's got its goods and it's got its bads. It's great for you because it helps your business. You're able to promote your business. You're able to post about it.
Yeah.
But then it's got its bads because sometimes it doesn't want to work. Sometimes it wants to give you problems. Sometimes you get people that are posting about you, right? Like all these different things that can benefit or not benefit from. But it's always shitty to see. It's like, I don't like Facebook because Facebook is just like so toxic. Like in the sense of like, I don't ever feel like anyone's posting on Facebook to like post. Like, hey, Hayden had a great time this weekend. I was in Arlington and I had his food. It was amazing. And I did this and I did that, right? It's like, oh my God, I hated going here because X, Y, like you're not going to see that, you know? So that's why I just like, it's just so shitty to deal with people nowadays that it's like, instead of having just an open conversation or an open line of communication or reaching out and doing the 2 extra steps for you to better help your situation as well as yours because you want that feedback, it's like you'd rather bash someone who, again, I mean, look at the time we're in now. Like, everyone is a lot more sensitive, not in a bad way necessarily, but like they could be better at constructive criticism if people were more open to the open line and not like, I'm attacking you, you're attacking me. Like that mentality gets no one anywhere. And I've said that for how long now, you know, like just because we don't see eye to eye doesn't mean that you can't leave a conversation disagreeing but understanding their point. Same thing goes for like this industry and food. It's like just because that's the case, that doesn't mean like, hey, if you don't like my food, that's okay, right? Like you can say that, but like don't go and bash me because you don't like American cuisine.
Yeah, right. How you gonna like hurt someone's business because you didn't like the food?
Yeah, it's one person out of I've served probably thousands of people up to now. Like one person has a bad experience and then they blast it, but the 999 other people that came liked it. They don't say anything.
Yeah.
So that's why it's always like you always want, and like I always tell people, I'm like whenever people tell me I'm doing a good job or like my family or anyone, I'm like, go write about it. Yeah. Like, please, like you don't understand the influence that a Google review will have. Like a Google review, it's like, oh, like you pass right by it when you're doing X, Y, and Z things, but like you don't get that one person that is looking, or the HR manager that's looking for a new food truck in the area.
Right.
Sees the first 5 reviews are all positive for you. Oh my God, I love that idea for a Friday happy hour or whatever, you know, like those things will save certain businesses and then benefit others. So it's always shitty to see how people attack that kind of you know.
Well, I was
negative.
gonna say I don't know if you have it on your truck already, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about too, like the design of the truck with the logo and everything. But do you have like a sign or something on there saying it was like, hey, don't forget to give a 5-star review
So
on Google.
I don't, and I probably should have something.
I think it would be pretty smart to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, because it would save me time, because now when I do hand people the food, I'm like, hey, leave us a review on Google. So
Yeah.
it could save me the extra 5 seconds that I have to say that, because if I'm busy, like, I'm going to skip some people
Yeah.
to try
Sure,
and speed some
right.
things along, so they're not going to get it. Or I could just make a sign. I've done it before where I made a sign, I had a QR code on it, and it'll just send you right to
Oh,
the
that's
Google page.
perfect.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I went to a food truck a couple months ago and they did the same thing. And it was that every review that you gave, you got like entered into like a wheel raffle. And once a month they would give like a free meal to someone.
Yeah.
So like cool,
That's
just
cool.
cool stuff like that, right? Because I was going to say that's part of the other thing is like I feel like innovation is huge in just any business. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're doing now. It's like you have to be doing something different to be kind of ahead of the curve. And I feel like the great thing about yours is that you're doing a different type of food.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you did the analysis and it's like, okay, cool. So 60 out of the 78 are food trucks that are not in my lane, which is great. It helps your business. But then it's like, all right, cool. Like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, then you go and you're like, all right, there's a couple more in here. What do I do as my next step, right? Maybe not a full menu change, but like a redesign, a bigger truck, a staff, things like that. So, it's cool to see kind of how those things will get you thinking for what your next steps are, your next innovations are, your next kind of moves and stuff like that. So.
I got a pitch for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
For a raffle type of game.
Okay.
Just for the day. It would be, the ticket that they hand back to you to grab their food. They put their name on the back of it or whatever. And then you put in, say, you put them all together, whatever. And you could just tell them, be like, listen, the more you buy from here today, the more tickets going to be entered into this raffle for like, I don't know, a free dessert at the end of the night or something like that. Or maybe something bigger, maybe something smaller.
Yeah.
I think that would be a cool little thing
that's
to
a
do.
very good idea.
Yeah, I think that would be
Absolutely.
a cool thing.
Yeah, it encourages people to spend
Yeah.
with an incentive at the end to,
Yep.
hopefully get something free in return.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
it's a good idea. And people like to be incentivized. Like,
Absolutely.
People people love a raffle, bro. Everyone's a whore for a raffle, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me, you see that wheel? Tell me.
Yeah, the
when we
wheel.
used to go to the mall when we were kids, we're like, how am I winning this car, bro? I can't even. I don't even have my
that's
permit
right.
right now. How am I getting this bitch out of here? Like, what? How to get in here? First of all,
That's
you know,
right. That's what
that's
I
the
was
biggest
always
mystery of
thinking.
all time.
it's the biggest myth. Like, did they build it here?
They
How did
do.
this
I heard
happen?
they take it apart the outside and they move all the parts inside and then they rebuild it.
That's. I have a pitch for you. Do the same thing with the grease wagon
That's gonna take a while. but-
inside a mall.
yeah.
Inside. Wow.
Put the truck there
Yeah,
Yeah, put
because
the
what
truck
they're not
right
gonna.
there.
They can't kick you out.
and take it apart and put it back together inside.
It's like Ocean's 11, but with a food truck,
That's a great idea.
and then not stealing anything, but just planting and then just slash all your tires,
yeah.
or put them on bricks.
yeah.
Can't move this bad boy down.
You won't need tires. Just completely get rid of that expense.
Too heavy to tow, so
Yeah.
Let's take a Chick-fil-A, remove the entire store, and put in the grease wagon.
just back it in over the counter.
It's like a Family Guy skit, like runs over the like counter like 3 times.
Right.
Peter, I think you got it. Just like- oh my god.
Back to the design of the truck. Is it mainly just the logo on it for the most part?
Yeah, so it has the logo on the sides, so the passenger and the driver's sides, it has the grease wagon logo.
Yeah.
And then on the back it has a logo. And then also on the back it has Facebook page and Instagram.
Perfect.
And on the side it has it as well. And then on the hood there's a little small grease wagon symbol.
Nice.
And then it also, my logo is very similar to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
I use like that kind of font for it.
That graffiti kind of
Yeah,
style.
because
Yeah.
I thought, food truck, it's on the street, kind of wanted to give it like a street feel.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of, I could do graffiti writing, and I found a bunch of graffiti fonts. I didn't really like it, and then I was like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is like, I love watching that show growing up.
Yep.
Even though it's a little past my time, all the reruns were
Yeah.
always on, but I would always watch it, and it's like, that's kind of graffiti. So
Yeah.
the is in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Right.
the grease wagon. So I'm missing one word, like of Bel-Air on the bottom, but it's very similar. It's basically a mirror image of it.
Yeah.
And then there's like little like paint splatters kind of all over the truck.
Cool.
So the
Oh,
truck,
cool. I like that.
Yeah, like the truck itself is black in color. The font is green.
Yep.
And then it's outlined in white, and then the paint splatters are all in white, kind of all over the truck. And
Very
that wasn't
nice.
my idea. I designed the logo myself.
Yeah.
But when I brought to the guy who did all my printing, he was like, "Do you mind if I change the logo a little bit?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was like, obviously send me proofs before. And he was like,
don't
yeah.
just
right,
do this.
right.
So he sent me a couple. One was like white with black writing, and I was like, I really just want the black with the green writing because
Yeah.
I really think it. He's like, well, we can't do it like when it printed out, so there has to be some sort of border around the logo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, how about I try and lift it up with some white? So he showed me, and I'm like, that looks really good. And he's
Yeah.
like, my designer has one more iteration for you. Let me tell her you like that one, so then she could work on it. So I said, okay. So it came back with the paint splatters like on the edges, and I was like, that's it right there. Like, I really like that. That looks very sleek, like very clean, and it's what I was kind of imagining in my head. And
Yeah.
they kind of did
good.
it for me, so I was like, this is perfect. Like,
I like it because it's sleek, but it's also loud at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
loud in, like, the most passive way. Like,
Yeah.
like you're not looking at it like, oh, my God, why is this person driving that? You're like, oh, that's, like, a dope-looking truck. Like, dope. Like, you want people to, like, kind of see it, and it's, like a double take. Like, what
Yeah,
is that?
right.
You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
that, I love the design. The person killed the design on yours.
Yeah.
I think it's sick. I like green, too. So, like,
Yeah.
green's my favorite color, so I'm biased there. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like black, but some about green, like green, in my opinion, underutilized color.
Well-
Red and blue, and those are your like number ones and
Yeah,
your twos. Like
your
you see
primaries.
everything in those primary colors.
Yeah.
I just think green is such a sick color because if you put it with the right color.
Yeah, I think
Again, I'm an Oregon Ducks fan,
I
so like,
think
this isn't
going
how
with-
like just
Yeah.
like you know like
a little bias. in
like
that,
oh
but-
no I'm Irish, there's green there, yeah, it's whatever, you know, there's a bunch of biases with it, but like just green I think matches really well with black too.
I
Yeah.
think
Like,
especially
black
that
and green
lighter
are-
green too,
Yeah.
like almost
Yeah.
like highlighted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
sort
the
of
thing
green.
too. Like when he was sending me the different logos, it was like different shades of green. I'm like, hey, I sent it to you with this bright green because I think it pops a little
Yep.
bit more.
Yeah.
So he was like, can you try and get that? And so I sent him like the actual like code of like what the colors were, like what I found on my computer. And he was
Yep.
like, I can't get it close, but he's like, I have something that's actually a little bit brighter. And I was like, can I see that? And he was like, yeah. And that's what it is now. So I was like, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah. Vomit green is my favorite color.
Yeah.
Highlighter yellow.
All right, I got one more question for you. Well, two more questions actually.
Okay.
And then we'll
Ask
move
so
on
many.
to our poll of the pod, and then we can move on to
down.
whatever else we want to talk about
Yeah,
too
we're on it.
afterwards. But one, what would be like your dream event that you would want to have that truck parked at? Dream event, and that could factor into making the most money / you'll just have a great time being there also.
So I'm hoping this comes to fruition because it's in a couple months. I've sent in an application, but Project Glow is coming to DC. Well, it's in DC every year.
Okay.
It's a huge event. It's EDM.
Yeah.
The same company that puts on, I believe they do Firefly as well. But they're all over the
yeah.
country. It's called Insomnia Events. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I think thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people might attend. I sent in an application a little late, so they're still kind of sorting through everything. But I'm hoping to get into that because that would be great exposure. It's the
Yeah.
DC area.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will go. And then hopefully once you get in one time, they're willing to have you back to come on for future events.
For sure.
So if Baltimore's not too far away, so
No, yeah.
they needed someone for Firefly, like, hey, I can go out there next year, Project Glow. I can do. That's like one of the bigger festivals, I think.
I think that would be huge because Insomnia is
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
with all those festivals and
Yep.
everything like that. So
Yeah.
you get the in with them and you start.
Well,
getting
and it also
invited
probably
everywhere.
depends on where you do it, because if you do it one place, and if you do it at Pimlico, right, where Moonrise used to be, just for example,
Right, that's Baltimore too.
that's
right?
Baltimore, yep, right outside.
It might be Moonrise, not Firefly. I might have gotten
It might be Moonrise,
be.
but I don't even remember who has Moonrise or not, like what
Yeah, I
company
don't
it is.
really
But
remember either.
it's like if you do it at Pimlico or you do it at whatever place it might be, they might be like, hey, like I loved that, like race day, we might want you in the lot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the same
right.
thing of like that exposure and like get the right person in there of like talking to the right person or kind of chatting it up with the right person, throwing some stuff over their way, being like, hey, how do we make this work kind of a thing,
Yeah.
and like that only benefits you of like, hey, like we loved when you were here for Moonrise, for Glow Fest, for whatever it is. We want you to come back when we have a race once a month or once every 2 months kind of a thing. So,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's always good exposure, like you said, too, which is awesome.
I think that's a great goal to have, and I hope that definitely works
Yeah,
out for
definitely.
you. And
Yeah.
like that,
I'm
get
just
that
gonna-
exposure and whatnot.
Keep doing what I do and just be persistent. And
That's-
Hell yeah, man.
That's it.
annoy the shit out of them until they give me a determination of a yes or no. Because I did the same thing. So there's another huge festival I got asked to do last year. It's a National Cannabis Festival, which is huge in DC.
Yes.
I got COVID the day before.
Oh, man.
Literally the day before the festival, I got COVID. So I was supposed to leave, I think, at 6 a.m. like that morning to go drop the truck off.
Yeah.
Because you have to secure your spot, and then you can come back
Yep.
in, fill it up, do whatever. I woke up. I fell on the ground because I just passed out.
Oh, no.
I woke up 2 hours later and I was like, "What happened?" And I was just sweating on the floor. And I was
my
like,
God.
It was my first time having it. I was like, I definitely have COVID. I took a test, came back positive, and I was like, damn it. So
Yeah,
I had
of
to call
course.
them like a few hours later. I'm like, hey, I can't come today because I have COVID.
Yeah.
Like, you're bailing last minute. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know if you heard what I just said.
Exactly. I was like,
heard.
I have this virus which has been wiping out the majority of the population. So
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
if you want me there or not, but
Oh, my
up
God.
to you.
It is
Let me
mad
know.
funny to see how that kind of like not to get COVID talk right now, but like how it very much changed, right? Like from when we first were doing it. It's
yeah.
like, do
Yeah.
not come in the office for 7 months. All right, bet, no problem.
Right.
You have COVID now, so are you going to be in tomorrow or not? It's
Yeah.
like, but and part of you is probably like, do I just like triple mask, wear gloves?
Oh, I was thinking about going in, but I legit had
stand.
no strength.
Yeah. Oh,
And I was just shivering, and I wasn't even cold.
you were just.
I was just shivering. I'm
Yeah.
like, why am I?
Oh.
I'm standing up, like, I'm going to go brush my teeth. I'm like, why am I shivering right now?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I got to lay down because walking from my bed the 10 feet to the bathroom was
Exhausted.
excruciating. And I was like, I'm just going to lay down for a couple hours. And then I woke up, and it was like a few hours later, and I was like, okay, this is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get a test. Took a test, positive.
Damn,
I was like-
that's some bad time.
I was like, you got a 14-day quarantine. And I was like, well, I have an event. I'm supposed to go work later. And he was like,
Can't.
it's like,
Gotta
yeah,
go.
14 days. I don't know what you didn't understand about that. It's just like, I heard you, but I don't have to choose to listen to you.
Oh
He's
my
like, well,
God.
for this, you do. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Well, all
So
right.
I'm going to
Thanks.
go back to bed.
See ya. Oh my God.
And then the last thing I have for you, where do you see the Grease Wagon in, say, the next 3-5 years sort of deal? Like, what are your goals for the future, per se?
So, in reality, I would love to turn the truck into not a restaurant, but a sandwich, like kind of like a terrace like we have around here, like a bagelery and a deli.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have a lot of that down in that area.
No.
So it would definitely be something different. Like I would ask my friends, I'm like, hey, like on the weekends, would your dads just like go out to the bagel shop and just get bagels and come back and like have bagels for everybody? They're like, no. I'm like, that's weird because like
That's
every
all we
day,
did.
my dad would come home on a Saturday or Sunday and he was like, oh, I saw Walt Gans today, or
Yeah.
I saw Tom McKnight at Terrace, not the
Got bagels. No.
yeah, exactly. They don't want to like put your dad's names out there. Sorry.
It's not my
you're
father's
good.
name.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, cancel the pod. Cancel the pod.
Sorry, Luke's dad, LeBron James.
Wrap it up. Close the computer now.
Yeah, like he's just, I saw so and so, and there'd always be like a long list of people.
Yeah.
It's like kind of that community sense. I don't know if I'm not obviously from there, so I don't know
Yeah.
if they have that there, but it's just something different that's not.
Well, it was like a social event for us too. Like kind of
Yeah.
like I said earlier, like part of like you the next morning after like in high school for us, Friday night, we went out. Saturday morning, you walked into Terrace, you ordered your bagel, you went on to the other side, and
Yeah,
you were
you
just
sat
looking
down.
at
Yeah.
the usual suspects, and you're just dapping up the people like, yo, where did you end up last night? Or, yo,
Yeah.
I saw you when you left. What happened? Just
That's always a
stuff
good
like that.
piece together the night before
Yep.
because everyone just is at the same location and then just scatters because
Dude,
usually the cops come and then
Yep.
everyone just running in different directions. They're like, hey, where'd you go after? Like,
That
oh,
was
yeah,
like-
I went here.
that was like my one benefit of like high school and college. I always used to laugh because like I felt like the Godfather. I'd sit in the corner and people would come up to me and be like, yo, like what happened to me last night? Because I didn't drink. So I was just like stoned all the time. But I like remembered everything. So it
Yeah.
was just like people would just like almost take a ticket, be like, all right, give me the breakdown. What I do? Who'd I offend last night? What I say? I'd go through my phone. I'm like, I got 4 pictures. They'll be deleted if I get a Venmo. You know, like just so funny. Just like that's always how it's been. Like I always like I'm kind of the encyclopedia afterwards of like, yo, what happened last night? But again, it all goes back to being at a centralized location.
Yeah,
that wasn't like what they did. That's in D.C., right? That's not what they do. Like they do.
It could be, but just not at a bagel place, maybe.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like I said, I don't really know, so it could be somewhere else. Could be at I don't know.
Also, the other
might
big
be dinner.
thing,
it might be an Italian spot.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
it's also Jersey in general, though, just has a very very high population of Italian people. Italian people are very, and like I'm hoping I'm not offending any Italians right now, but like Italians have a very family-oriented way of going about things.
Sure.
So that's kind of how most Italian restaurants are, right? The family atmosphere, they kind of want you to like be talking to the people and doing whatever. So like I feel like part of it, not that they don't have that in the Arlington area, but it might not be as prominent of like, look at what we do here. You go to any restaurant and it's like, when we were kids, our family knew someone, right? You knew someone at one booth. Right. Oh, that's Johnny from down the block. He's my this, my that. And that's not even the Italian thing, but I almost think part of it is like the Italian culture brought into our lives in the area that you live in that kind of amplifies it. So it might not be the exact way, but it might be something different there. Like, hey, we do it at a coffee shops. Yeah. Or, hey, we do it at...
I would say a coffee shop is a good guess for that.
Yeah.
I would also like to say that I feel like the bagels over there probably don't even compare to the ones here in Jersey,
to be
New York.
perfectly honest, I don't even eat them down there.
You don't? Okay, yeah.
I don't eat pizza or bagels.
Don't expose him right now.
Well, no,
I'm
you would
kidding.
be bringing the good bagels.
No, I would, but like...
he ships them down.
Seriously, like, so my friends came up last summer. Yeah, last summer. 2 summers ago, before I opened the truck.
Yeah.
And we went... My dad lives in Belmar now, so he's right down the street from Federici's. So I got my friends Federici's. I said, this is a different kind of pizza. Because they're used to the really doughy. Like, the pizza down there is just like, the dough's not good, but the pizza's like 90% dough and like 10% cheese and sauce. It's weird. So it's just like,
terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. So I was like, try this. Like, you guys will like it. My one friend goes, this looks like it's on a cracker. I said, try it and then tell me what it's like.
Yeah.
He eats it. He goes, holy shit. I said, what? He goes, this is pizza.
It's the best pizza I've ever had.
Nice.
And I'm like, what do you mean, like, this is pizza? He goes, this is pizza.
Yeah.
And I was like, so you like it? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I thought it was a cracker. And he was like, no, this is good.
Yeah, what happened?
This is good. I'm like, this is the thin slice stuff. I was like, this is like your run-of-the-mill kind of bar pot kind of thing. I was like, this is good. I was like, we got other good spots, too.
But I mean, that's even the crazier thing about this area with food. Like, you have that type, you have the doughy type, then you have the Brooklyn Square type, right? Like the upside down pie. You have the vodka pie that I was talking about it with you at Baco's. I mean, bro, Baco's was like the first place that we had a vodka slice.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, in middle school, I remember we'd be at Barclay, right? Because didn't they open right at the end of our middle school time? Or was it like right in the middle of it or whatever when we'd ride bikes?
Yeah,
we'd ride bikes to school. We'd ride right over to Baco's afterwards and we'd get a vodka slice. You're like, yo, I'm drunk as hell right now, bro. In like 7th grade, you're like, I'm fucking wasted. And it's like, nope. And like, but like, it's crazy to see, like, I really do think Jersey's trend sets for the rest of like the United States when it comes to food. Like, maybe not all food, right? Like, you're going to get, like, cauliflower probably blew up from being in California, right? Like, all the hipsters and all the California people were eating cauliflower and it made its way out here. But, like, how slices are made, how bagels are made, how these different things are made here, that's how I think it migrates the rest of the United States, in my opinion. Like, that's, but think about it. Part of that is because of how the United States was founded in Ellis Island. Everyone came... a majority of of people that migrated here from Europe were through Ellis Island.
Right.
So New York, through New Jersey, Monmouth County, Essex, all these other Bergen counties, all these different areas, and then they just kind of spread out to Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all that shit, all the way down to Virginia, Carolinas, and then everything just kind of and it's cool to see how food switches because like I'm not great with cooking food as much, but I love food. I'm fascinated by it. Like, food is one of the coolest things ever because it's so if you buy a shoe, it's the same shoe that every other one that was made is, right? But if we all make chicken parm, every single one's going to be different. And I know that's like a terrible analogy, kind of, in a sense. But it's like every way that someone makes something, if I build a Lego set, we can always make different parts, but all of the pieces are the same. In the comparison of like, you make it, like, you're going to slice your chicken thin. I'm going to keep it thick. You're going to slice it in half and half, and you're going to make nuggets. So it's just so cool to see everyone can make food. Yeah, and like my fiance's Cuban, so like I always make the joke of like a Cuban sandwich. If you go and look up like how a Cuban sandwich is made, there's like 5 people that say this is the way to do it. Like one has pickles, one has mustard, one doesn't have it, one uses ham and like beef, and then one uses no ham, and then, you know, so food is fascinating in that degree, and that's probably part of the reason that you probably love it, right? Is like you take a piece of shrimp and you're like, oh, like you can make what, 10 things out of that? Shrimp parm, shrimp scampi, you know, you can cut that into fried shrimp. You can
popcorn shrimp.
Popcorn shrimp. You can bread it. You can fry it. You know, so that's, and like I love Guy Fieri. I love like diners, drive-ins, and dives. I know we used to talk about it all the time, like back in the day. Like he, as much as he seems like kind of like a meme, you can tell he like loves it, you know,
and is a great guy.
Yeah,
and he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
like, he really knows
his stuff.
Food is there is a science behind it. Like, he knows his stuff.
And he also, and the other great thing is, the cool thing about it is like when it's always cool to see when someone figures out the formula, not just to like whatever it is, but like for food, he figured out the science behind it, but then he also figured out like, well, I know how to not beat the system, but like I know how to advertise. My crazy hair, my wild look, my like loud attitude.
Yeah.
It's like a Conor McGregor in the UFC, right? It's like that persona that he built. Because Gordon Ramsay was the only guy doing it for forever long, right? And like him and Gordon Ramsay were probably right around the same time. But then you have like the Bourdains. You have all these people and these like weird personalities. But like Guy Fieri's probably the most known of all of those guys. Yeah. Everyone knows Gordon Ramsay. Everyone knows a lot of people. If you don't know who Anthony Bourdain is, you should. Because
he was great.
Crazy mind with coming to food.
Yeah.
But like Guy Fieri is known by this kid, grandma, grandpa, everyone, and that's kind of the really.
We're gonna name a town after him.
Do it.
Flavortown.
Still do it. Yeah. You're not the mayor of Flavortown?
No.
Ooh, the Flavortown sandwich. Hear me out.
So, Hayden, before you had your own food truck, I'm sure you've been to other food trucks before that. What was your favorite one to go to?
So I didn't have a specific truck,
right?
Like the name of a truck, but it's just a specific style.
Yeah.
A nice barbecue truck. One that offers up like a nice tender brisket, you know, like a pulled chicken, pulled pork kind of thing. Oh, yeah. And you get the nice sides, cornbread, mac and cheese, collard greens, whatever it is. Just get like that authentic kind of barbecue food, but it's just so good, delicious. That I would think would be my favorite style.
What was your... What kind of food was most popular in college for you? Because like you say, obviously you did that transition in college. So from high school, you went from this area. College, you went to JMU. Little bit of a change, right? Like not exactly the same food styles. I don't know if you've ever seen JMU's campus, but
no,
you should look it up because it's in the mountains. It's just... we visited our senior year, right, when we were moving out, right? Or was it right afterwards? Hayden had a house at that point, and we drove there from here to there, and then we went to Georgia afterwards. Yeah, but we did like a whole trip, and we like went and saw it, and like I didn't believe him when he's like, "Yo, come stop by at the stop by at our house." Like we're in the mountains. I'm like, dope, like cool, like you guys are like, you know, like the Poconos kind of a situation, like, you know, like you have like a house like by it or whatever, and like it's just like Hayden's backyard was just like this. The giant field that just like went into a divot and then just like looked at like the regular like a mountain. I'm like, oh, so you weren't lying, you know, but like it's also not in the middle of nowhere, but it is in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a lot different of a change from here. You've got 45 different places you can go to eat right now within 5 minutes, you know. So what style would you say like was most like dominant there, like barbecue or
in Harrisonburg?
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
So Harrisonburg, by the time I left, the downtown area was kind of getting built up a little bit more.
Cool.
But there you had we had a Jack Brown's, and Billy Jack's, which is American style burgers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I would say that would probably be the number one style of cuisine. They had a bunch of other restaurants there, but they were mostly just your typical run-of-the-mill, like American-style places. They had a few chain restaurants. There's an Outback there. We used to go there. One of my roommates was dating one of the servers, so she would just give him gift cards, and we would go.
Nice.
We would just go to Outback, and we'd be like, "Hey, Eric, you got this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got $75 worth of gift cards." So
yeah, we're good.
Like, all right, so like 5 of us would go to dinner, like. We just share a bunch of apps and get a steak, and like we'd only have to pay like maybe $10 out of pocket.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
It was awesome. So we did that. But yeah, I would say that would probably be majority of the cuisine there because I mean, it's the Shenandoah Valley.
Yep.
It's you're like just run of the mill kind of rural Virginia town. So nothing too crazy or exotic was coming in. I'm sure. Some stuff's changed now because I know they've been building up the town since I left. They put a hotel there.
Oh, cool.
A lot of the alumni are coming back and like putting money into the town. One of the alumni from JMU is CJ Hart. He is the founder of California Pizza Kitchen. So I believe there's one in that area now.
I was going to say probably. I'd imagine you probably want to put one there now.
Don't quote me on that, but I think he was coming back.
Delete that out of that episode.
Yeah, if you're going to edit one thing out of this podcast.
Get rid of that.
that slight bit.
California Pizza Kitchen put a hit on him.
Yeah, or if not, you can keep it in and just put a fact check over my face. Like, there is not one there. But yeah, that's kind of American. I mean, it's pizza, but it's not
Americanized stuff. Yeah,
not your typical pizzeria.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy to see too. Like, so JMU year one of being D1.
D1, yeah.
Next year, this year, it was just this year, right?
Yeah. First year in the Sun Belt Conference,
and they were what, top 20 or top 30 in the nation or something like that.
We for 1 week for maybe a day, we were number 25 in the nation.
For football?
So for football, they were
1 or 2 days.
You were day 2.
We were D1 AA.
Yep, there you go.
We were playing in FCS, but we went to 3 national championships. Won one my senior year. I was like one of the first people to jump on the field. Like before the game was over, they're like, "No one jump on the field." And I saw one kid go to my left, and I was like, "I'm
gone."
Out. So
see ya.
Me and my boy, we were sitting next to each other, and I was like, "We got to go now, or the security is going to come over and we're going to get caught."
Yep.
Ended up like security was way outnumbered. Like we were on mid.
They always are.
We were at midfield like that, just like jumping around with the players. And my friend who I was with played on the team and stopped playing. And he knew like a majority of the people. Yeah. So he was like just jumping around with them. And those were like his boys. And I was just
like, I'm there.
I'm like, yeah, we won. I'm like, we won. They're like, who are you? And I'm just like, we won. And it's like all the students are coming over.
He's got a helmet and shoulder pads next thing you know. Like, what the hell? But like to see that transition, right? So what happens is most of the time when that happens, you don't do well. It's a different type of play. So when you go from D1 AA to D1, you're playing a better level of competition. It's the same thing with kids go to college, then they go to the NFL. A lot of the time, it's a tough transition because these are men you're playing against. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, like JMU's going to get smoked this year because they're playing better teams." And I mean, you guys still finished with a really good record, if I'm not mistaken.
They had 3 losses, maybe 4. I know that towards the end of the season, they lost a couple games where they should have won. I think might have been Georgia Southern they played. Yeah. Towards the end of the season, it was a game that they were not supposed to lose. Quarterback Todd Centeo, shout out Todd, coming back next year.
Got him.
Got hurt, and he's gonna be healthy. He led the team throughout the whole season when they were doing well.
Yeah.
Kid's got a pretty good arm.
Yeah.
So
I'll be watching his tape.
Look out for the Dukes.
You know me.
You know
me. But that's cool to see that like just off of that transition they do better, and then the next thing you know, the town is not necessarily that's the only reason, but like that's gonna draw 25 more people back.
Oh, for sure.
That's then gonna turn to 50. Then those 50 are gonna have families. They're gonna start a business. They're gonna go start working for a place. It's gonna bring So it's always really cool to see like. I always used to shit on Montclair, but like Montclair was doing like a big transition from when I left to like when like it actually where it is now. Like all of the buildings are pretty new and like it looks apparently beautiful like on the entire campus. Montclair is already like an expensive area. So, like, it wasn't like we were, like, it was, like, already a nice enough area. But then, like, as I left, and now, like, I go back with, like, my fiance all the time. I go back with my family to get, like, food and stuff. But, like, it is cool to always see, like, when you go back, like, you want those areas to always kind of continue to grow and, like, bring more things on. Like, I know I'm right by your campus. So, like, whenever I go by, they're always building shit on your campus, dude.
After I left, they really stepped up their
Just
game
everything,
in building
bro.
more
They
stuff.
built everything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they're not going to stop. But it's probably part of it that a lot of kids would rather commute to school now. Not necessarily. Listen, you're always going to have, when you have a graduating class of 500 people, 200 of them are going to want to leave where they are because they don't want to be in that either same style of like Jersey or wherever you're from.
Sure.
Right? You want to kind of expand your horizons. Then out of those 200, 100 of them are going to be like, I want to go to a big school for football, for sports, for academics, whatever it might be. After that, you're still left with a bucket of 300 people that are like, I either don't want to go to college, I want to stay local, or like either money doesn't make sense, or like you can just save money and kind of get a similar experience. Like that was what I always made the joke about Montclair. Montclair was like Rutgers, but like instead of the girls going, they would just get a BMW from their dad and they'd commute. Like it was like all the time. Like Montclair, I think, was the second or third most commuted to school in New Jersey. It's a huge commuter school, and no one even like
Kane was up there too, though.
Sure
I
Kane
wouldn't
was
doubt
up
it.
there,
Yeah, but like it's so because like, and it's funny because now it's almost turned into Rowan is the South Jersey, Monmouth not even is like commuter because like it's tinier. But, like, you have, like, either Rutgers, because Rutgers, you have, what, 3 campuses?
Yeah.
2 campuses, whatever it is. Then you have Kane in, like, kind of, like, the central northern kind of area. And then you have Montclair, just in Jersey alone, So, but it's always really cool to see how colleges kind of expand after alumni come back, when they put money into it.
Yeah.
Who wants to stay, who wants to go, who wants to, be forgotten of, like, oh, I didn't go there. I did go there, whatever it might be. But,
Right.
yeah. JMU was a good time. I'd put it on my top 5 colleges I visited, and I was only there for like 2 days.
And
So,
this
showed
is
me a good
that's
time.
where you went, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
I guess we could tie this into the podcast, but one of the main reasons why I went there was because when I went on my tour, they said JMU is the #1 college in the nation for its food.
Oh, okay.
Like, they have the best food of all the college campuses in the country. So I heard that, and I was like, I've heard horror stories about eating on college campuses, and like kids
I
don't
can tell you
eat.
20.
Like, all the money for the meal plans go to waste at JMU. I needed more meal money because I just like, well, they had dining halls where you can go and just eat as much as you want. Which to me, when I first walked into the first dining hall, someone was like, "Yeah, you could just kind of take whatever you want," and I'm like,
What?
I'm like, so I can have all of this as many times as I want, just a huge dining hall with all these different stations.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that freshman 15 is probably be so real.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful, though. But we used to go, like, we would have, like, set times that me and my friends would go, like, for lunch on Monday. And then Sundays we would go to the bigger dining hall on the other side of campus, which is brand new. Because they had a fantastic, like, breakfast brunch thing. So we would go there and just eat all day and, like, we'd have a competition, like who could stack the most plates. Just sitting there, like everyone has like 6 or 7 plates just stacked up in front of them. Like,
I think back to mine how bad ours was. Shout out Matty Owls. I mean, he can attest to it. Like our
Mine was pretty bad too.
Oh, dude, ours was so bad. But we actually had good after like late night food. We have like a cafe that opened at the nighttime. I'd imagine we all probably had something similar to that. But like we had one that was really good for after hours, and then we had one similar. But like, bro, when I tell you it was on the other side of campus, I don't even know why they built it. But like, it was like 1/5 of the size of that one. Mm-hmm. So I understand, and it's a smaller space. You can kind of cook more. You don't have to worry about like mass cooking, all that shit. But dude, it was like, I remember like if you ever got the boys to like trek over there, you're like, all right, who wants to go fucking walk to this side of the campus to go get food? It was like, I don't know, I might just go downstairs and eat like a 3-day-old deli sandwich where you're like, I guess this will be fine.
Waste some school bucks.
I mean, dude, oh my god, bro, I can't even, like, I think back. I had, like, 3 different places in one of the first place that we were at was Blanton Hall. It was this fucking rundown place. Shout out Montclair. And I think it had a Chili's, a Guy Fieri, and something else by the time I left. I was like, it was 3 different places in the 4-year span that I was there. I was like, this can't be good. It's like, you can't have 3 different places in a 4-year span and be like, you're passing any type of code. Just, it's not happening. Oh, my God.
I think we'll get into our poll of the pod, and then we'll close out. So Hayden already gave his answer for what his favorite food truck was. What about you?
So this is weird because I was gonna say I don't know if it's an entire like lane of food trucks or not, but like what is it, Cousin's Maine Lobster?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They make a mean like during the pandemic they actually were posting up at the church in St. Robert's in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
On certain days, and bro, like I remember like. Again, for me, it was part sentimental, part that it was actually good lobster, which is surprising because you hear lobster out of a truck and you're like,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. But they've built a really cool model as well, right? Like, I mean, their business model is smart, but we would do it during the pandemic where it was like, oh, we could pull up. Everyone was kind of spread out, which was nice, right? You could park your car wherever you wanted. You waited for your order. But, like, I remember we would go with my family. We'd pull up. I would go. I'd pick up the food, and I'd drive right back home. I love lobster, which is funny because I was a chicken nugget and a Cheerio kid for, like, my entire life. And then I finally branched out, thank God.
There you go.
But, yeah, I would say that or, like, you know, Americanized, just greasy. I love tots out of a food truck, like tater tots, like either dressed up tater tots or like because like I don't drink, but like tater tots are easy because you can just like eat them and you don't feel like you have to eat a whole sandwich or a whole pie or like if you're looking for something just easy, but you're like drinking, you can go have tater tots. I like them because like I'll eat a bunch of them and then I can kind of like pass them around and it's like an easy onion ring, French fry style kind of a thing that you can like pass around and not be like, all right, no, these are all mine. Like, don't eat my tots.
Yeah. You can also store them in your pocket.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. That was a good lesson learned in that movie.
Yeah. It was the only thing I took out of that
get some
movie.
of your tots.
Right, exactly. That was the one thing that I took out of Napoleon Dynamite. So you can store tots in your pockets.
Yeah.
That's why I thought cargo pants were invented. Yeah, I swear to God.
Solely for tots.
Yeah, I got kicked out of so many parties back in the day. I was like, if you guys had just let me fucking stayed, you could have had some of my tater tots. But you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You get your ass kicked.
I would probably have to go with a more American styled like sort of food too. I haven't had them in a while, but like those butterfly fries, love them. So I guess that would be in that category, right?
Yeah.
The fried foods and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is it cheating to say an ice cream truck? Would you count that as a food truck necessarily?
That's tough because it's like, is an ice cream truck and then like an icy truck? Definitely
ice cream, like a Mr. Softy.
Like a Mr. Softy, I wouldn't, but there are some like signature ice cream trucks where they make their own ice cream and
oh really? I didn't even know that.
They're it's either soft serve or it's like the regular hard ice cream.
Yeah.
So they're crafting their own ice creams. I would say yes, but a Mr. Softy, I don't know. I wouldn't classify that. That's an ice cream truck. I feel like that has its own categorization.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you have that, and then you also have an ice cream truck that just gives you a like.
Just a cone
in the wrapper.
Ice
cream
truck.
Right,
yes.
And then you have an icy truck. So those are not doing anything where, like you're saying, right? If you get like a handmade or handcrafted place.
See, I respect that more. Too, like without a doubt.
Well, yeah, I'd rather pay money for that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like I don't know how long 100%. That dairy's been in that fridge at the at the Mr. Softy one in New York City, like
Oh, but that was my shit back in the day.
Mr. Softy's is still great.
It is great. Yeah.
I mean,
But like you even brought it up before, like a pulled pork sandwich or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't. I feel
you
like
can't
you can't beat that. Yeah,
you could just do a whole rankings list of like greatest foods ever, and it would just take days to figure out. What
there'd be a lot of debates, and like I don't think you would settle on anything.
Oh no, I don't think so either.
It's just it's way too subjective.
No, of course, because everyone's taste is
which
different,
is a beautiful thing too.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's like you think Dunkin' coffee's good.
I do.
I also would agree with that.
Thank you.
See? I respect both of you so much that I will end what I was going to say.
Perfect. Thank you, Luke. That's what we like about you, Luke.
I never talk a lot, so like, that's the benefit of it.
All right, so we also asked you guys on Instagram for the poll of the pod for this week. What was your favorite kind of food truck? We got a couple of answers here. We're not going to do it on a winner basis, which one wins. We got several different options here to choose from. So someone said a pasta truck.
Never had one of those before.
I haven't either. An authentic taco truck.
Yep. I mean,
Taco trucks would be a close second for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the birria tacos. Those are
What are they called?
the birria tacos. They're the tacos that are dipped in the juice, and then they're the tortillas are thrown on the grill. Sometimes they do like the cheese birria
it's
tacos.
like a dressed up one.
Well, they'll it's like a dressing, or like they'll just throw cheese down on the grill, then put the meats down, and then dunk it in the sauce.
I gotta try that out.
He's
That
just
sounds pretty good.
His head, he's just like Taco Bell, Taco Bell.
Yeah, hey, I love Taco Bell.
No disrespect to the Taco Bell.
Shout out
Sponsor
Taco
the pod.
Bell.
Sponsor the pod, please. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Someone else said an American greasy food truck from breakfast to dinner.
That's pretty specific.
Pretty specific.
That's very specific.
In parentheses, the grease wagon.
Yeah,
Grease wagon.
just like a picture of me next to it. Guys,
Was not Hayden that
I
voted.
did not answer that. If you heard from if you rewind, I said barbecue truck was my favorite.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, you see, this is another one I don't think would count, but someone suggested it. Dirty water dog food carts.
So a
in New
food
York?
cart is tough because New York you don't get as many food trucks because of
True.
like spacing. So like you kind of have to consider it if you're thinking about like space wise.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if the only trucks I ever see in New York City are the pot trucks and the ice cream trucks.
I was gonna bring that up too when I was saying my favorite. I think
the
those are
only-
the biggest ripoffs ever. Just to like
The pot truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's not real
I
pot.
got yeah, I know it's not. I got one of those lollipops before going to Comic-Con. I was like, this is awful.
You literally just ate a fucking regular lollipop.
Yeah, and I
with
spent
cheese.
bills
Yeah.
on it. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
But then you had the kid you've never smoked with before, and they're like, "Yo, dude, I can't fucking feel my face."
It's all it
Like,
all
freaking out.
becomes
You're
a
like, hey,
mental
bro.
thing after a while.
That kid in high school used to give water to, and you're like, "You drunk yet?" You know, they're like, "Yo, I'm wasted."
This is straight placebo, my man.
I don't know if I'm gonna say this one right. CREPE, is that crepe or
Crepe.
Crepe? It's crepe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Crepe.
crepe truck.
Yeah.
Crepes are good. I like crepes.
Say you like crepes. Tell me you like crepes.
You don't know that movie?
Which
Come
one is
on.
that?
All right, ready? It's a Will Ferrell movie. Am I wrong?
No, you were not wrong.
Cool. I in my head I was like, "Fuck." Wait,
I almost said yes because I
Tell
thought you
me
said
you like
I thought you were gonna say am I right, and I was prepared to say yes.
Older movie?
yes and
Old
no.
school?
Newer than old school.
Newer than old school?
Newer than old school.
I'm just gonna start listing them down. Definitely not Step Brothers though.
No. Older than Step Brothers.
Anchorman?
Older than Anchorman.
Yeah, older than Anchorman.
Blades of Glory? I'm trying.
Okay.
It's
It
around
involves
that.
a sport.
Oh, the basketball one?
Nope.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
Good guess, but no, you're going the wrong way now.
Kicking and Screaming.
Nope. Other way again. It involves a sport that people don't think is a sport.
Something that you probably do every day to get places.
Oh, Talladega Nights.
That's correct.
Dude, I was just watching that the other day.
Yeah, he's got his arm in the lock, and he's like, "Say you love crepes," and then he's like, "You're gonna break my arm right now."
Yeah. He's like, what is a crepe anyway? Like, it's a flat pancake.
Hey, you know what? It kind of sounds good.
Why can't I just say I like pancakes?
A halal truck, like the falafels and
Yep.
whatnot.
Those are very popular
Love
around my
those.
area.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's the DC area is a lot of refugees from Middle Eastern countries.
Cool.
So a lot of them will come over and they'll start either a restaurant or a truck. There is a fleet of they're called the halal guys. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
a fleet of trucks.
Don't they have a restaurant in?
Yes.
I'm thinking Hoboken
I think
or
they have,
something
like,
right
they're
there.
They have a
everywhere.
bunch of restaurants
Yeah.
all over the place, but yeah, they're pretty big.
That's the one I went to, and
I used to get
got
juicy-
that real spicy sauce.
I used to get juicy platters up by me.
Never
It
heard.
was halal, falafel style stuff.
Yeah.
We used to call it juicy splatters. So I'll leave it at that. We
Juicy
can move on. To
Yeah.
the next
Okay.
thing there,
if
but-
you can infer.
Yeah. If you can figure out what I'm saying. If not, I don't know what to do.
You
with
could also
you.
interchange that with Taco Bell.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't you dare talk about Taco Bell like that on the podcast ever again.
And then the last one we got. This one I know. I see it in Philly a lot. The Insomnia cookie truck.
I don't see ever trucks of that though.
Yeah, they were big,
I
like at
only
like
see-
2-3 in the morning.
Yeah, well, whenever I went to Temple, like, luckily, when I'd visit Zach in Temple, it was always, like, they had the Insomnia, and then they had the Jimmy John's. But Jimmy John's was always funny, because, like, you never really went to Jimmy John's to pick up. You always, it had to be in, like, driving distance, so the guy would come on the bike or whatever and, like, drop it off. But,
Right.
yeah, that's a good... It's a good list of people
Yeah.
putting stuff out there. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd
for
say
sure.
ice cream truck is definitely going to be kind of the debate of the century
That's
of like
a
what
big
it, you know, it's a
controversy,
very,
Yeah, I would
You
say
know?
so for sure. Because I didn't even think about that till now. When I was
Yeah.
thinking about like what my favorite was, I was like, oh shit, like
it's a good argument.
it's like been around forever since I was
Yeah,
born. Sort of
my
thing,
dad
you know?
would make fun of me and say that was mine because as a kid I used to torment him when we were down at our beach, like when we'd stay in the summer in LBI. Every day I knew on clockwork when he was coming, so I'd just sit at the front door and he's like, "What is going on? Like, why are you like waiting at the door?" I'm like, "You know why I'm waiting at the door? Gotta get the what was it? The shots,
The
shots. Come on, work with me, people. The little lemon lime balls in
they
a
were
thing.
shots,
They were
yeah.
called shots, and you'd rip the lid off, and you would literally. I'm not gonna go like that, but
Yeah, right.
you know what?
For the cameras, Luke, can you just show me?
Basically, you'd use two hands, and then you'd basically just like eat. No, you never had shots like dibs. Remember dibs, dips.
Dips, yeah.
Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots, but like lemon lime flavored.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
we'll
figure
figure
this
it out,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll figure this out.
I'm gonna close this up too because
We're running out.
yeah, we're running out of memory here for that.
I bet.
And what we got here? Yeah, close to 2 hours too. All right, cool. So, all right, guys, Hayden, thank you so much
Hey, it
for
was a
joining the
pleasure.
podcast.
Of course, man. Happy to have you.
Appreciate it.
for having me.
I hope the most success for you with
Thank
this
you.
Yes, sir.
business
Guys.
and everything.
Yes,
Thank you. Appreciate
115
it.
episodes.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
double
you,
it.
bro. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
let's double it.
Yeah, we're
330.
Absolutely.
we're hoping so, dude.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
330.
from
3:30. Yeah.
listening back, we quickly always make the laugh of like we started putting them back on Spotify and stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to them the other day, and I'm like, fuck, God, man, we sound like children.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
what's
true.
up? Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
Same
you
thing. You
know.
notice you're like, I can't believe I used to do something that way. Like that's crazy.
Oh,
How
dude,
things have
yeah,
changed.
so
Right.
much different.
Yeah.
So much different.
It's good to see progress.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And Luke, thank you for joining the pod as always.
Always a pleasure.
For you guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at Frank_videos. I'm also going to put in the description as well to follow all of the social media platforms that the Grease Wagon is on as well.
Awesome.
Do you have a website too? Or
Yeah, www.thegreasewagon.com.
Beautiful.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All the information's there. So
Awesome.
There you go.
And if you're in the DC area or where else?
DC Metro.
DC, Northern Virginia area.
Yeah, make
Hit
sure
'em
make sure to hit them up and check it out.
Check it out.
All right, guys. With all that being said, have a wonderful day and peace out. My number 3 is The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I love that movie. It was so like you watch that now, it's like
Oh,
this is the corniest
terrible,
thing ever.
terrible.
Like what's that guy? Taylor Lautner, right?
Yes.
It's like how could he even watch himself in that movie?
Oh,
He'd
dude.
probably die. But that movie was so nostalgic for me nowadays. Like there were great parts in it, like that you enjoyed as a kid. I mean, come on, like George Lopez as the big-headed robot guy.
So
like,
funny.
Come on, that's meme central,
That's
and that'll
MODOK.
live. That's MODOK.
Yeah.
That's MODOK. I've been seeing memes everywhere about that.
Yeah, it's like the new
that being-
MODOK looks crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, and it's George Lopez.
But you know, those when 3D first came out, like this movie was 100% made specifically for
Well,
3D.
3D was literally meant for like
That-
us. It was meant
yeah.
for like we were evolving in cinema as kids, and it was like, what's the next big money grab? It's the same thing with toys.
Yeah.